Loader, like more of a mid-game oriented fighting carry. They banned the Slark, so that doesn't... I don't know, I feel like I haven't seen much of Ace play Slark, and I feel like I haven't seen much of Slark in general, let alone successful Slark games. Tanky, stat-heavy heroes, you know. Yeah,
I feel like I've seen a couple of Slarks versus Underlords. You know, you've got decent kill potential from that hero in lane, and then also the tankiness of Underlord.
Reserve time.
A nice for that steal off of. But then again, I'm actually just surprised in general that Underlord has not been touched, at least in the 3-4 bans, just because no matter what, that hero, even if you try and counter it, doesn't...
Alliances turn to pick.
Does not seem to ever really be true. Do go for the Venge. Third pick up here for Cloud9.
Yeah, it's kind of like a test the water, see where our lines go with their draft by picking a Venge up. Since it is still flexible, support, core, gives you some save. It's your draft well anyway, so Alliance will most likely react like with a support themselves. I feel like they also want to just wait to see where Cloud9 go with their draft, learn a bit more about what they're doing before they commit too much to any, like getting a secondary core hero.
Dazzle.
Radiant team pick.
All right.
Like that hero would be the nice tester. That being said, though, it works well with Slardar. It is physical damage and all that. But do you think that Dazzle Sniper is... I mean, offensively, right, the weave is really good. But defensively, Shallow Grave, Saving Sniper, you would prefer to have a hero that just doesn't allow people to be on top of the sniper in the first place.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I feel like the obvious response to this Dazzle is an Axe pick. Like, picking the Axe against the Dazzle makes total sense here. It gives you it's something Cloud9 needed anyways, to have that initiating type offlaner. Whether it's like the Hesjo used to play a lot of Bat Rider, but that hero's fallen off. He plays like Legion Commander, but I think Axe is just the obvious counterplay to the Dazzle, and it's a hero that you initiate in, and during that Berserker's Call, you've got all that armor, so you're not going to necessarily melt to an amp damage. As far as the Sniper Dazzle goes, I feel like this ladder Sniper is where you get the offensive coordination. Like the Corrosive Haze alone is enough for the Sniper to easily pew people down. The Dazzle is not going to get much value with the Sniper in terms of an offensive weave. Perhaps a defensive one if Sniper's getting jumped and he's got that defensive armor on him, but even that, it's like once he's jumped, he's in trouble.
Are missing from this draft. The Lone Druid and the Luna have not. Luna would actually fit in.
Yeah,
I feel pretty well with. Maybe I was gonna say it fits well with C9's lineup, but they'd be going into a sniper.
Yeah,
that's a little bit more difficult, as well as Dazzle with the offensive weave.
I don't like it for Alliance. Like the Luna Sniper seems like a pretty weak duo, bit too squishy, and the heroes don't really complement each other very well. They go for the Lone Druid though, the double sniper. Seen, I presume, Loader play this one, so I think this is a first as far as Alliance go, unless there's a game I perhaps missed out of them, but
they could still do depending on the map, they could still do mid Lone Druid with Sniper safe lane if they feel like the Lone Druid will suit better against SF and presumably Ogre in that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll
reserve time.
And yeah, the double sniper route, we're kind of thinking about it, right? The Lone Druid was another notable exception, and it doesn't really well with either lineup here. So it does mean that Cloud9 are going to be hard-pressed when it comes to high ground, but it should mean they dominate the mid because of Lone Druid's power spikes. He presumably will not be the strongest core you could have at 15 minutes, while C9 look very strong in that regard. Whether or not Vengeful Spirit is going to be a safe and unless they pick up a very slow hero with SF, Ogre, Axe hitting his Blink Dagger timing, seems like C9 will be very dominant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Alliance in the mid game, leaving the safety of their base or their towers and shrines is going to be very difficult, because at least right now, like Sniper Lone Druid can't easily move out on the map. They're not exactly mobile heroes. Yeah, you've got this Slardar as an initiator, but on Cloud9 side, you've got Venge Swaps, you've got Blink Calls, you've got an Ogre who can just walk around scouting stuff out. And Alliance are lacking that kind of secondary, kind of aggressive type
10
playmaking hero. The
seconds
Clockwork
remaining.
would have perhaps fit quite nicely. You get the cogs for control. It's a good kind of setup and
5
lockdown to
seconds
enable the
remaining.
Sniper and Lone Druid to help protect them, like just act as a body, be it yourself or your
Reserve
cogs,
time.
to stop heroes like Shadow Fiend getting too close to them. But they'll have to look elsewhere for that kind of secondary tank, so to speak, with the
Alliances
Slaughter, if that's
turn
what they
to
have in
pick.
mind. Centaur's even an option, like
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
5 seconds
Not sure.
remaining.
Right, where the bear could run
Yep.
over somebody, but either way, right, it is a nice
Reserve
tanky
time.
initiator and gives you some options for Sniper and Lone Druid to work around when initiated on.
yeah. Lone Druid gets pretty damn fast and doesn't necessarily need the Stampede as much, but I still think it's great. The Sniper gets a lot of benefit from it. As for Cloud9, we see Terrorblade banned out, one of the better kind of range carries to perhaps be
10
able to
seconds remaining.
at least deal a bit with the Sniper Lone Druid in terms of matching their range, and also
5
takes
seconds
objectives very well. I think that's where Cloud9, we talk about their draft having a strong, scary mid-game.
Radiant team
Having a hero to break towers faster is going to be able to punish Alliance's lack of real mid-game team fight. So Alliance go for the core Slaughter. They pick up a Rubik. So something Alliance do more than other teams is just pick these strong dual supports in terms of the
10
lanes. Like they
seconds
like to go
remaining.
for a straight up tri lane with a solo offlaner. Whether that's still going to be the case because it's a
5
Slaughter, we'll have to
seconds
see.
remaining.
But they're a team more than others that will prioritize securing their safe lane.
So Axe is not going to be
Reserve
enough.
time.
Are you feeling core or support?
10 seconds remaining.
For the Axe?
Sorry,
for the
sorry, for the
Venge. Yeah, I
last
was
pick,
like,
Five
Cloud9.
oh, yeah.
seconds remaining.
I'm probably feeling more the core. Okay, they go PA. I feel like they just needed something that's going to scale a bit better. And PA, fantastic option against Lone Druid Sniper. It's all single target physical damage. The supports do no magic damage. Slaughter doesn't do anything. Like, this is all right click physical. So Blur is going to be incredible this game. Blink Strike gives you a gap closer to fight the Sniper Lone Druid with. This is, on paper, the perfect pick for Cloud9.
Yeah, I was looking over the potential pickups here, and that's why I asked you core versus support, because I felt like core wise, if you're gonna go for a last pick core here and not do Venge carry, and you have to have some sort of gap closer first of all, and you have to have some sort of either early BKB hero, or you have to have some sort of hero that can dish out damage and ignore
10
that Savage
seconds
Roar somehow.
remaining.
And I think the only heroes I could come up with was PA with the early
5
BKB
seconds
timing.
remaining.
She hits the mid game really hard, which seems on the slash, but it feels good again, and it's not as mobile as the. Then I think the other one was more of a slower style hero, which would have been Sven. I haven't seen Sven versus Lone Druid matchup. I presume that it's still Lone Druid favored quite heavily.
Yeah.
Very definite peak where you have BKB.
Yeah, Sven just seems kind of hard to play in the current patch with his item timings. It seems like maybe it's just like an adjustment thing, because it used to be like it was a very clear progression where you'd stack your Ancients at certain times and then hit this like Sven really early Blink, Echo Saber, Helm of the Dominator timing, and now it seems like a bit more awkward because the Helm of the Dominator isn't like quite the item it used. I mean, it's better in some ways, but for Sven, it's actually worse since you don't get the lifesteal to go with it. But the PA I think the Terrorblade could have worked for them. Not that it's a mobile core, but because of the range factor. But the PA I like actually better than the Terrorblade. The Terrorblade was banned, of course, as well as that last ban.
Yeah. The Terrorblade would have been a nice, like, pushing hero just to overwhelm Alliance by 20 minutes. What a nice idea. Smoke up, TP's out. Well, for C9 anyway. It's kind of surprising because everyone TP's out right now. Maybe Alliance are going to do some of their signature level 1 shenanigans. Maybe go for a late smoke or something of the like, because
they've got the smoke. But they'll be scouted by this very early ward if they don't pop it soon, so this is likely to be read by Cloud9.
There, maybe the tricky Alliance thing in this game is actually going to be playing super conservatively and just taking their 2 runes, one of which is going to be through the Spirit Bear.
Alright, so the Spirit Bear scouting things out at top. This 4-man alliance unit around this mid lane, not doing all too much. EGM just taunting his way through the mid lane, showing
30
himself.
seconds to battle.
It's the, hey, I'm warding your high ground, but not real. Bren could know that that's not actually the case.
We didn't talk about the their decision to go with the offlane Slardar. We were talking about the Centaur. I kind of prefer the offlane Slardar. The Centaur was the only other hero that I could come up with, but I do like the fact that they chose to run this hero offlane and then pick up our Rubik instead, which is a nice quick reaction to C9.
The one thing I don't like is all they've got is single target physical damage now. I feel like perhaps if they picked up a support that had like a Lina type support or something. I mean, Lina with Dazzle wouldn't have worked too well necessarily, but I feel like they needed like either to diversify their damage output a bit or add some extra team fight, which they still don't have. Like, it's not like this. I mean, the Rubik gives them a very tiny bit depending on what spells he can steal, but realistically, this is more like just like an early game, good laning hero type pickup that can transition, offer some team fight involvement, but I feel like that's still a big gap in what Cloud9 have.
Pretty sure the smoke got seen, or at least they know the rotation of the supports. Hanskin and EGM are sitting in the trees. They, as a result, are switching up the lanes. Hesjo will still kind of be caught here. Maybe their exact positioning was a bit of surprise to him. And probably be our first blood. He is tanky through the end of this. He's got the PMS. The stun's going to come out, but don't he twice? You got to stun a little bit sooner. Yeah. Homies help homies. Come on now.
And he needs to stun sooner. Like he pseudo body blocked. It wasn't like a full-on body block, but he did make him have to walk a bit around, and then he stunned very late. That was Rice still waking up perhaps a bit.
Either way, seems like C9 are able to dodge the aggro trend, though this is still going to be awkward. They have to kind of leave Ace alone here because they can't commit to a tri-lane. Otherwise, the two supports just come back and a lone Druid tri-lane with two supports. And that doesn't feel... I don't know what C9 do with their supports.
Ace is already wanting to be back on that bottom lane now that Dazzle is top and there's Norba Venom on Loda's Bear, so... yeah, this is not going to be a good lane stage. And I think that's important that Alliance win this lane stage because otherwise the PA problem is going to be very significant based on how the hero matches up against the Sniper Lone Druid. So they're doing everything they can to try and shut down Ace's early game.
Back and forth. SF. 8 and 7 on Sniper. Ooh. He's taking it to him. Maybe Knight will, of course, pick up that jungle farm as well and start building up those souls. It's expected slow start.
Mid lane, some aggression coming in. EGM with a haste rune. Pulling back into the shrapnel.
That's just so unfair. Is that triple shrapnel? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
The whole entire area is covered.
As he hits the level 3 timing as well, really nicely timed. And I mean, part of it's having a haste rune. I think even without a haste rune, potentially you could get in behind him and make that play even regardless, but the haste rune makes so yeah.
Spotted out here by Rise. The Port Vengeful Spirit is actually turning a little bit into a core with the way that he's been able to take most of this solo farm bottom.
Yeah, Rise is normally that hard 5, not getting too much. I mean, some games will get farmed because Noya's playing heroes like the Ogre, who is that pseudo 4 position in terms of the fact he's roaming and moving around the map more, but doesn't actually farm as much as some of the laning supports go. But right now, yeah, lane's overall pretty good. PA has managed to farm at least okay at the top lane just by using the Stifling Dagger, but is now going to like fall back into the jungle, use the Shrine, and
think she,
probably...
Iron Talons, maybe?
Can. What's she holding on to? She gets the poor man's shield. But,
just wondering how much time he plans on spending inside jungle.
It's maybe worth doing regardless because it's just some casual armor as well. It's not too big of a gold investment to get an extra couple points in armor, and you're going to hold on to that Quelling Blade for some time.
All right, nope, they are not going to force Ace to do this skimping jungle / half lane situation any longer. They are going to rotate Hester Joe up to top lane. He's level 4 now, so he can make jungle work pretty well, and they can put a lot more pressure on with this combination of EA.
This is the laning step that C9 wanted, ideally from level 1. We'll see if Alliance take both supports back down bottom to pressure the PA again, but they're kind of at that stage where it's harder to do so. Now that the PA has some levels, these Rubik Dazzle supports are now squishy. Level 1, they're not squishy because there's no damage output from the PA, but now that PA has the Blightstone, is going to pick up food soon, presumably, like a level 5 PA with a Venge Stun or an Ogre rotation is going to find very easy kills.
Yeah, the introduction of those early orbs, really beneficial for a couple of heroes. One being the Spirit Bear, having, well, if you want to, have 2 different orbs, the bear and the other on the actual hero. And then the PA with the dagger applying that one to Blightstone, and then the dagger damage. Same toss back into Noya. They're actually going to turn and try and kill Limp here. Baby Knight knows he's not making out alive underneath all this shrapnel, but they don't get the second raise in, which means Limp's not threatened. He turns around and kills Rise as well, and Alliance's landing stage just seems to get better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very well executed with the support play, and Hanskin and EGM always being in the right lanes to have the impact they need. EGM's already got the money to pick up some arcane boots now, and I feel like now that you've kind of secured your lanes, your next goal is to maintain that pressure on the PA. Perhaps we see some kind of a smoke play down bottom with the 2 supports. Loda shouldn't need too much help up top. Doesn't get the last hit on the tower. Hesto does get a deny there. Loda thinks about diving. He is level 5 with an Entangle, could theoretically get this kill, but his bear is a bit too low for now.
I think because the supports are off map right now, a little bit scared. They could be winning up a tower, especially as it was dropping low. And bottom lane, kind of securing an Invis rune doesn't really do too much for them, but is C9. They actually just bottle, give the Invis to Rise, and they'll again on this mid lane.
Didn't get scouted by the dire side, so this could be something Limp does not expect. No stun on the Ogre though, just the Bloodlust.
Comes in immediately. Limp is going to be stunned, turned around. Baby Knight hits a medium raise, and the long one will manage to finish up Limp. As well. Fortunately, still no level 6 for Rise. No swap back, but Baby Knight might still be able to get him 2 right clicks and 2 raises is all it takes to kill him. Or double kill for Baby Knight. This time, very good for, especially with Limp so far up. Yes, his experience.
Ooh, ace at bottom getting dived.
He'd be in, miss. Oh, nice jump forward. Now Rise is here, and a crit, of course. Just add insult to injury. I'm sure he was dead anyway, but it makes it all the cooler. Ace outplays you on some fun with a clutch Phantom Strike.
Yeah, nice little bait there, and there's some fan getting close to getting the kill there, but at the end of the day, that's what PA does best, be very elusive, bouncing around, and suddenly things get a lot more equalized thanks to those last couple of plays there. It secures up the PA's early game, takes the sniper down a notch, and it was really all off of that Invis room. Very good strategic call, giving it to Rise and letting Baby Knight fade it out in this mid lane to set up on the sniper. So feels like this laning stage is looking a whole lot better for Cloud9 all of a sudden.
That should help.
Minutes in. Oh, sorry. Dota totally free. Baby Knight. Not too far away. And I think another important thing Hester though is getting a decent amount out of his off lane. Gave him that secured farm in the first couple of levels, and he's turned that into pretty proficient neutraling. Should have a well-timed blink dagger. Which, we talked about that initiation. Important it is versus Alliance's members.
Here's the big move bottom. They bring load in everything. It looks like Sniper may even consider coming down for a full 5-man. And with this creep pull, I don't think you want to be anywhere near this tower ace. He's amped up. Creep pull almost guarantees this tower going down. It'll be the second tower for Alliance. This one will presumably not be denied, and I don't think you even attempt to defend this one. You just take what farm you can get in the top and the middle of the map. They are drawing lines as if they want to go down towards that bottom lane, but the response has, it's already too late to defend this, so yeah, I think they realize they got to back off.
I think this is one of the, we talk about Lone Druid and how he does not have a very good timing of 15-20 minutes, but he does have a very good timing about around 10, where he's got his level 4 Spirit Bear, and I like the fact more and more teams are doing this. They move the Lone Druid into a lane, sort of like the way that like the Tide Hunters would get level 6 and they just move into a lane and they bully down a tower just via their presence and some damage hitters, and this is kind of similar Dota
Dire's top
gives them all the
tower is
pushing
under
power they
attack.
need and also all the fighting power, so they just bully down towers. D9 played safe, waiting on their mid-game timings. They are going to try and dive Baby Knight here. They do have the Corrosive Haze as well as the Assassinate, but Baby Knight, Jonas Upon's closing that distance. He has a crush coming up, but won't be able to catch him. It looks like EGM, he is going to be dying instead. Cloud9 to respond just in time. PSF's life and...
Whew, just a little bit too deep, and Slada, the 2 points in the sprint, not enough to close that gap. That is a good turnaround for Cloud9 Alliance. I mean, that's one of those like millisecond difference things. If Slada just runs in maybe a millisecond sooner, or SF is just like a fraction of a second later on his treat, do find that kill and potentially the tower as well. But all in all, Alliance still kind of poised to keep taking objectives. They want to bring low to mid, they can try and pressure that tier 1 tower. But C9 starting to get some key levels and items themselves. They're just about to get that first Helm of the Dominator on Ace, and it's very useful to have for these early fights. If you can get something like a Frost Mage to give him some ice armor, even a Purge Creep just to help dealing, like to slow, constantly spam and slow people down, get rid of the amp damage as well. There's a lot of useful creeps Ace can find this game.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like they missed their timing there. I thought they would pull Lone Druid into the mid lane and they might be able to get that mid tower before the blink, but now it's up on Hesta Joe. Hesta Joe chasing Hanskin. They went for Smoke Gank, hoping to be able to catch Loda here. No such luck on the spins either, so Hesta Joe may actually die here. And he's going to be slowed down, maybe caught by the Spirit Bear. Unfortunately, no entangles just yet. Noya's going to be the next one, still no entangle. And now the dagger. So no pursuit now.
I have a question for you, Cap. PA hasn't decided herself. Do you think you max Blink Strike or Blur first this game? Because you max Blur for the Blink Strike first, the Phantom Strike. But this is one of those games where perhaps you consider Blur.
I think the Lone Druid is such a problem with his bear that you max out Blur.
Yeah. So like 4-1-4, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not the full 4-1, because I kind of feel like you want Strike still maxed out by like level. Yeah. Maybe a couple extra value levels. It's hard to say, right? Because then the headshot gives more value on the sniper.
I really don't know what the answer is there. And for now, he's gone for 2-2. He got a point in Blur at 8, then he went back for a point in Phantom Strike. It seems like he sees value in both and doesn't want to make a full commitment to maxing either.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Of those phase boots, and that'll be another big upgrade. As the potential for much larger crit damage is here. As Joe pops his head out. Whoa! A little bit overshoots that Blink Dagger, misses the opportunity to get a call onto Loda. Now he's Savage Roared up. They go for the Blink backwards, but it's still not enough. The Assassinate damage is there. Loda actually gets blown up by Baby Knight, who was on the high ground, came down with double raise. They're going to finish off Hanskin as well. Ace is looking to be able to close the distance with Limp, while Jonas Upon managed to hit a crush and finishes off Noya. But now he's slowed down by that dagger. Headshot 1, slowing down Ace. Ace not quite in range for the Phantom Strike here. He's actually stuck in an awkward position. He needs help from his team, but Jonas, a Phantom Strike, but Assassinate's here. They're going to finish it off, and Baby Knight can't actually stop that. He's got a Corrosive Haze, turns around, 1-2, trying to finish off Jonas Upon. The ultimate is not able to go off in time, so instead it's the death animation that kill Jonas Upon. But Alliance come out big time, in part because of the Blink Dagger on Jonas.
Yeah. His Blink Crush is getting everyone amped up, made all the difference there, and Loda's positioning wasn't the greatest because he got caught from the high ground by the SF, but Sniper was the hero that went unnoticed, and it's one of the big problems with this Alliance draft. Like, PA and Axe can perhaps get on top of one of the two, but doing it to both is a much bigger ask. So while they deal with Loda very quickly and on in the fight, Sniper did 3.3k damage in that fight. That was more than half of the entire hero damage from Alliance, and all of that due to like the Slada just constantly hazing people up, the Sable and control from him, and even the Shrapnel being very well placed on that high ground.
Seems like C9, I think they did a good job. They gave up that same flame tower. They did manage to defend mid. They kept their tier 1 up there, got the Blink Dagger, but you know, it was all good, all fine and dandy until they picked up that Blink Dagger, and ever since then, their choices and their initiations from C9 have been completely off.
Yeah, fighting around that bottom shrine was a very tough spot to go for it. That mid lane one was okay if they landed that Blink Call and instantly had the PA was TPing in as he went for it, but missing it really hurt them, so we'll see how this next fight or two go for them. They've got 3 points in the Bloodlust, so theoretically Ace can dish out a lot of damage very quickly. may look to wait for like the Desolate pickup, but that's still a decent ways off, and I think Cloud9 don't want to just sit back and idly farm while Alliance, and give Alliance room to use their blink themselves, because Alliance are somewhat more teamfight ready.
Skin is baiting right now, but it does seem to be a little bit obvious. C9. Not going to take that bait. You'll know some fun sitting on the side here with the blink dagger, and then they had EG Shrine, who you're going to be able to pick up and earn. That is something that's
top tower
missing, I guess, from their roster with the Slaughter Dart going for early blinks, so EGM will get that sustain up instead.
Yep. It's important to have at least one in the team when the way these fights are going and stop potential blinks from the axe, so nice little pickup. Right now, Alliance, very good map vision around the Radiant jungle and this mid lane, so I imagine, yeah, they are going to be eyeing off this mid tier 1 tower. Cliff is already forced out, but it will be traded for top. Rise getting the last hit up there, and yeah, this Venge finding some farm here and there, so we'll perhaps provide a second Helm of the Dominator.
Slow down Limp, and do manage to get a nuke on him. This is pretty good. Oh no, a failed call from Hesta Joe. They get him a 4-stab backwards, trying to save his life, but with the Assassinate and Telekinesis, he's definitely dead, and that may be the opportunity for Alliance to finally finish off this tier. And Hesta Joe just having a rough game.
Yep.
This opening game. So 3 series initiation from Jonas Amfon onto Noya. Tanky, but Maelstrom makes pretty short work of him. He does have an enemy battle hunger on him, but...
And an urn, but no. Yeah, not enough mana for the Assassinate from the Sniper. Meant he would barely survive. And again, it was that high ground observerwood vision around that mid lane that really set Alliance up to succeed there, and, well, fight goes well for them. That was one of those calls where like it looked bad that he missed it, but I feel like even if he landed it, the outcome would have been exactly the same, where he was just diving in a bit too deep, and that instant lift from EGM was going to catch, as well as the blink crash from Slater was going to hit him regardless. So even if he calls the Sniper, perhaps Limp gets down to maybe half HP and at least takes some damage, but I don't see that fight working well for Cloud9 either way.
It's like the initiation on Dazzle here. It's so far out there, and it's a single hero, fall that's probably not going to result in more than 1 spin. It's just like not going to work out. That the game plan itself is flawed, not necessarily just the initiation. So
yeah,
gotta get their heads into this a little bit better. If Alliance aren't going to take that tier 1 tower, if they're not going to force it, then there's no need to force a fight. I think C9 should be more than happy to farm at this point in time, because their big spike is not until 2025.
I mean, they're still a ways off a few crucial items, like the PA Desolator wasn't completed or anything. They don't have that great burst damage for whoever Axe calls, and that's really the big problem. Alliance have great heroes to play against the call, the instant lift, the blink crush, instantly disabling him, and I think more than anything, like the Dazzle heal, like you call someone, you suddenly take a heal bomb to the face as well. Hanskin didn't even level Grave early. The last fight around mid lane, he didn't have Grave at level 7. I think he got his first point at level 8, just because he's playing against an Axe, and he's like, this max heal is going to do more. Axe blinks on us, I heal that target, suddenly Axe gets it turned around on him.
A medallion of... That is... I mean, that's one of my favorite things about Dazzle, right? Clear through waves with it, when he does max out the heal, pushes pretty good, so he's actually got a nice chunk of change in his pocket.
Sneaky Alliance.
Pick up the haste.
Oh, is Hesta Joe gonna blink in? He's there. Does he know? Yeah, they've seen the bear now.
Wolf. You know about it. They'll lose their Wolf Commander. Oh, stun on Hesta Joe, but Ace is sitting there at the shrine. Ready to jump anybody that overextends a little bit too far. EGM's going to be trapped inside the shrine. Does receive Shallow Grave. Hesta Joe is not in the region to be able to get the Culling Blade, so it looks like a successful TP. In the backlines, though, Ace is trying to go for Limp, but he's now been stunned up. Hesta Joe still trying to get that call. Will manage to land it. They also get a crit out, but he's not getting any spins. So Hesta Joe finally gets the Culling Blade back over to Loda, who's trying to 1 versus 3 right now to finish off Anoya. Hesta Joe and Jonas Amfon separate. Double nukes go on to the bear, finishing that one off, but Loda is just trying to ward C9 away from the Roshan pit. That bit will be successful. Alliance, is that actually a 1 for 2 trade-off in total? It looks like it.
Rubik got away with the TP out, but jump from Cloud9, I mean, even though you don't kill the Rubik there, you take him out of the fight. EGM could have perhaps TP'd to the shrine and used the shrine by himself, and then at least being able to get back into the fight, but even that, I don't know if it would have necessarily made a difference, so... Good execution there, and Cloud9 get a lot stronger. Just having like a Vanguard on the axe is going to make a big difference for his initiations. It means he doesn't get punished as hard. If he can land that call, typically he's going down as soon as he goes in. So this Vanguard gives him a bit of extra survivability. The Blade Mail going to be the next nice pickup. Actually going to go for the Crimson Guard first, so recognizing it's all this right-click physical damage. Wants some damage block for him and his team.
Okay, I'm done with that. At first, when I saw the Vanguard, I was like, I don't know. Blade Mail feels pretty good against Sniper and Lone Druid, but if he actually does get the completed Crimson Guard, I guess that does add a lot more viability to C9's lineup when they go for a real push, and they'll have a lot more sustainability. Poke.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the PA question, like, do you want to go Blink or Blur, and I'm like, you really want both. Both have so much value this game. So I guess for Axe, it's like, well, where do you fit the Blade Mail? If he doesn't go back for a Blade Mail after Crimson Guard, I think I'll be a little dubious of. I mean, there is some other valuable items like a 4-staff, so you can Blink Call and then maybe 4-staff out of a tough spot, but I feel the Blade Mail is just such a fantastic item.
4-staff. Good reactions there from Baby Knight. He still got hit by the stun, but then on the high ground, he could turn around, almost finishing off Jonas and Fun. Again, Joe's not around. A dagger.
Got the Ignite.
Slightly ill-timed.
He's very low still, but the Dazzle heals will keep him healthy enough.
You have the Desolator, though, for C9. With Baby Knight completing BKB, I think they've reached their peak. They have the Crimson Guard completed as well for Hesta Joe, so I think you've got all the items you need. Hesta Joe and the rest of Cloud9. Trying up, go for a push and almost.
Oh yeah, go. You'd love to take this tower so that you can easier take smoke moves like to the enemy side of the map, go into their jungle, and also secure yourselves Roshan. I think now, I mean, they've seen Alliance attempt Roche. Both teams really want to go for this Roche early. Venge doesn't micro the creep in the Roche pit, loses it, so that's kind of some scouting capabilities lost, but he gets another one. He finds an Alpha Wolf, and right now, Roshan is... Whoever gets this first Roche is going to be in a big strategic advantage, and I think even more so for Cloud9 because their Aegis carrier, the PA, is a hero that wants to dive in and play aggressive. Sniper or Lone Druid with an Aegis, it's like, well, they're sitting back, auto-attacking regardless. In any situation where they lose one life, they'll often lose two. So if Cloud9 get an Aegis, they'll be poised to really start pressing it to Alliance and taking objectives, taking some big fights.
Especially since C9 had that potential for second life with Babe Knight.
This next fight gets tougher with the Mjolnir. That's a lot of AoE magic damage. You can put that on the bear, you can put that on a teammate like the Slaughter when Jonas wants to blink in, so there's a nice boost to Alliance's damage output.
Almost have the completed Hurricane Pike Sniper as well. That'll really help out because these Blink Daggers, you mentioned the 4-staff, and I was like, man, he kind of does need a 4-staff just because it seems like his Blink may not be enough. Like, they can only smoke into these often, and they're dealing with two heroes that are sitting at 900 range plus. That Blink Dagger is only going to be able to cross so much of that distance, you know? So that Hurricane Pike is going to be another good example of how Alliance is going to be able to stay ahead of this one. The Mjolnir static charged up, Spirit Bear appears inside the Roshan pit. Hurricane Pikes it away, does get some damage in. There's a Hesta Joe initiation onto 2, catching Loda, almost finishing him off, but he can't get the cooling blade. He's been telekinesis and Loda's getting away. He does have Ignite on him, but a healing salve a little bit more. No, he still takes out, ends up dying there. Hesta Joe gets hit by an assassinate, so he's not able to make his initiation. He gets hit by Jonas and Fun, but Alliance do have to back away. Still there's the call.
He's gone in.
Joe does manage to catch Jonas, stalling up long enough for the rest of the team to get here. They hit a dagger, wasn't a crit though. So Jonas will survive. Hesta Joe back to base for him.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Assassinate from them.
Yeah, instantly losing the Aegis, but still good fight. Slaughter's gonna TP right in.
He thinks that because Hesta Joe's gone, they can actually fight this one around, but
I don't know about that.
Limp in trouble. A long-range Phantom Strike does get on top of him. A stun out onto Jonas and Fun, so they can turn onto that off-laner instead, but C9 are in an awkward position right next to that tier 2. Fighting into that shallow grave is a bit dangerous. They will back away. Hesta Joe will now join them for the team fight once again. Jonas.
That was a dubious TP.
I think he thought because the axe wasn't there, he's like, oh, Shallow Grave has so much value now, maybe we can fight into them.
They were down, I guess there was like, there was 3 of them there with the Dazzle looking, yeah, like you say, had the Shallow Grave, they had the Slaughter as well as the Sniper, so they felt like they could fight, but yeah, the PA is very scary at this point. Has that level 15 now, so gets the lifesteal as well, and Ace will be working on that important BKB timing that we talked about during the draft as well.
Is Hestejo or Rotten?
Handskin
towards the top lane. Pumpkin maybe to go here. Yeah, they're gonna jump on him. Actually, can't get the Culling Blade out in time. The damage is too quick from Ace.
Loda, he's... Oh, you're gonna go on the bear instead.
Yeah, the Alliance do have Limp and Jonas and Font making their way over from mid lane. They may actually try and jump, but that's a bad idea. C9 are also bringing in reinforcement. Baby Knight is
Ace with the Ice Armor is got that extra bit of survivability. A lot of armor on him. I feel like this Dazzle does still need to use the weave defensively though, because there's such good gap close with the Axe and the PA. Just putting the weave onto Loda and Limp is probably the more important approach to taking a fight. And C9, even without an Aegis, still looking to take it to the Alliance side of the map. We'll get a free tier 2 tower. Alliance are just looking for trades at bottom lane.
Jonas and Font is way there, but not too surprising that C9 got pushed all the way up to the tier 3 tower, forcing money back. Defend their tier 2. Taking free tier 2, losing maybe a bit of damage on the bottom lane, but
Dire's middle tower is
as long as they don't get picked off while they're rotating around the map.
Fall back, Baby now restore some of his mana. About to hit level 18, so that'll be the level 3 Requiem in this upcoming fight. Not much ability to stop that because of the BKB. And
Joe, you ballsy as hell.
Yeah, he wants that blade mail.
Farming up Ancients underneath the Alliance shrine like that. They had vision of it too. Well, now big increase in damage now. Initiation again.
Yeah, in the past he'd blink in, call, and then often get lifted up, slather crushed, and well, in the earlier fights he was dying, but even in recent ones he's taking a lot of damage. This blade mail really helps protect him. It's like a pseudo BKB in some ways, where you pop it, people don't want to hit you or use stuff on you because you're going to get turned around on. So Alliance will have to be careful about how they approach these next couple of fights. Really feels like the PA more than PA and the Axe more than anything. If they get on top of the Sniper or Lone Druid, the fight could just instantly be over.
One of the great things, PA used to be such a terrible tower pusher. Remember that? You know, it's like your damage is based, right? You didn't get SO back in the day, so. But now, this PA is actually an excellent tower pusher. Not just because of the Desolator, but also because of the fact that we've got Noya here. So that actually gives you that attack speed increase that you count on facing building.
Yep. And this is the second last out of the tower, so another one's going to fall. All that physical damage, and looks like Cloud9 can't take shrines just yet. They will fall back, cover themselves, but both teams will be probably eyeing off taking those shrines as soon as possible if they can take all these out of towers. For now, both teams are just trading towers on opposite sides of the map. No Aegis means it's a bit harder for C9 to force a high ground push, but they're also happy to play a more farming game because they've still got a lot of room to grow on both PA as well as SF. PA gets a lot scarier with a Basher, SF get a lot scarier with something like a Butterfly for himself, or a Skadi, for example. A lot of just stat or armor items he can get to help out the team. Good AC game even, if he wants to go for that.
That's true. Bad of a night. Bear manning up against the Helma Dominator melee creep at 1400 HP.
I like how Ace just doesn't even care what creep he's going anymore. He's just like, I'll just go send some creep to scout somewhere on the map.
It really just does not matter. The cooldown's not very long. Takes them a really long time to kill it. Doesn't get them.
Free mobile observer ward, you know? Observer wards are one of the best items in the game. I mean, they're very cheap, but they're also limited source of them, and being able to move one around the map to scout everything is strategically very strong.
And then our other Helmadom creep here is giving everybody 66% increase in damage whenever Venge is around between her aura and the Wolf Leader attack.
Plus 201 on Shadow Fiend with his items and those auras. Not bad. And when he's not next to them, it's plus 106. So he gets an extra 100 right-click damage thanks to the Auras.
Look at Ace. He's trying to dodge around the Savage Roar. He Phantom Striked in, only got one hit, and then immediately backed out. You know, he's like, hey, I stopped the return. Hit by Savage Roar.
Noya will stop it again, yeah. That's a dead Spirit Bear. Where is it? There we go.
Oh, yeah. 746 damage.
No split push threat really out there on the map for Alliance, so we're going to lose complete control of their side of the map. Radiant Vision surrounds the Dire base, top and bottom, by their secret shop.
I know it's not a position that Loda feels comfortable with in this game. There is a lot of initiation, but I feel like he does always have to be outside to be giving that potential split push threat. Otherwise, C9 gain control and they push higher.
And the other, I mean, part of the problem for him is right now is he's not level 20 yet. Doesn't have that mighty 50-second respawn time because he's died in a few fights. Often it's been him dying and Limp surviving. He's just a little bit behind where he'd ideally like to be as a lone druid. And boy, Baby Knight is just
there's a nice initiation with the BKB and PA. Throws out a dagger on a unit of fun, but he's got to go separate. They are going to try and respond, but there shouldn't really be much made of it. Dota lone druid, they're dance.
Yeah, they'll take the free kill and back on out. Wait for Roche most likely with that respawn coming anytime in the next 3 minutes. It will be a relatively shorter side respawn.
Could creep waves. Do you have this aggressive ward? Knots out some options. That's good. Lanciano some fun. Misses the crush. Bells off.
He is ridiculously farmed for a Shadow Fiend. And it's not like he's been, I mean, he's been fighting involved in some of the kills, like he's 6 and 3, but I don't feel like he's been like getting massive kills in fights to farm. He's just been CSing away this entire game. I mean, 290 CS, 230 on the sniper, but Baby Knight has been playing the farm game very heavily and is seeing himself well rewarded in terms of overall net worth.
As soon Baby Knight's going to be playing sniper light role himself. That's 25 talent. He's going to panic, have great high ground pushing opportunities. Observer Ward being countered, but he wants to be able to go on Limp. Does get the blade mail out. Look at the damage that Limp's dealing to himself. Now Ace jumps in, finish off the job. Kungra.
Oh, hand skin.
On skin. Gonna get caught. Gonna mashed by the dagger. Dunzo. Time to force some buyback.
Yeah, forced buyback. Even without an Aegis, you don't have PA BKB, so Ace needs to perhaps be careful about hitting the tower, but until those buybacks come out.
Oh, immediate jump in, finish off EGN. Okay. Gets a decent amount of damage on the Spirit Bear as well. That's going to be finished off by Baby Knight. Now, Hesjo needs some assistance. Force Staff 1, Force Staff 2 does get out. Buyback forced, Tier 3 tower down. As long as C9 don't get caught on their way out, this is looking like a perfect exchange.
Yeah. Ace gets low to the Assassinate, but he's still more than okay, and they can just head straight towards the Roshan pit off of that, knowing that there's still 2 dead supports, no Shrine for Alliance to TP2. They don't actually scout it out. It looks like they may want to Shrine up first. Okay, there we go. They've seen it now, but Alliance are just so trapped on their side of the map right now. Radiant Vision has been somewhat taken away. They're about to lose their 1 Observer Ward as well to the timer, but even so, I think Alliance are just playing too dark on the map to reliably make a move out.
I blinked and Roshan was dead.
Yeah, I actually moved my camera for like 2 seconds away to see what Alliance are doing, and then I'm like, whoa, Cloud9 weren't even in the Roche pit last time I looked.
Yeah, all of a sudden I watch Ace and he just like double crits and Roshan disappears. They pick up Aegis. Joe did a good job cutting that creep wave at bottom. There's a decent push coming out there. Puts a stopper in that one real quick. And Alliance, they're holed up in their base and they seem to be very confident, or at least more confident in their high ground defending ability. Split push, but I am not convinced this is going to go well for them.
Yeah,
I really feel like they need a threat.
Axe is just going to jump a lone druid or a sniper if possible, and then that hero is instantly dead. There's no saving them with a grave reliably. Perhaps a Savage Roar that's well timed, but even that is unreliable with the BKB up now on PA.
Oh no, Jonas upon caught outside the base. Alliance are supposed to have this very treacherous high ground, but now they've lost their initiator. An offensive weave goes down. Cloud9 could wait this one out, still have decent amount of time where Slardar's dead. Could push high ground probably in a 15-second window.
I mean, they could go now, even with the weave on those heroes, because Ace doesn't have it. Ace is the one who's going to want to be diving in aggressively. Perhaps without the axe, it's a bit harder, but yeah, no bonus armor on Sniper. So Druid has to stay very far away. He's just trying to push out that top lane, and yeah, Baby Knight's in there with the weave wearing off.
Buyback is going to be used by Jonas and Fawn, but the melee Rax is still going to be falling here. Baby Knight up for 4 staff. Ace is actually taking a lot of damage from Loda and that bear, but the bear dies, and Loda is now out 1 for 5 seconds.
Satanic for Baby Knight actually works pretty nicely against the Spirit Bear. It's like a free heal up. So if you pop the Satanic and start right-clicking it for a couple seconds, so very careful how you approach find you've got the crush and the lift, but against Satanic you really need good, reliable, like consistent lockdown to be able to stop Baby Knight just healing back up once he gets down to half HP, and that's something it feels like Alliance they're kind of lacking. I mean, maybe if they had more damage on Sniper Lone Druid, wouldn't be saying that, but it feels like his items are going to keep him well alive for plenty of time to get the Satanic off.
Esther Joe's actually going to get a BKB. Wondering what his next item is going to be. They don't have an AC hero right now, so I thought maybe that would be his choice.
Yeah.
Allow him to ignore some of these disables when he initiates instead.
Gonna be a Manta style now on PA. May look to he's gonna replace the Helm of the Dominator and use that to help get rid of that corrosive haze.
Scotty finished up for Limp. That'll help push C9 back. Slows him down on the retreat. Maybe allows them to be able to get a catch. Tower's left with 9 HP, so the next time C9 push forward.
Still plenty of time left on the Aegis to
They know
stick
this
around.
bear is constantly off cooldown. So Loda, now it's going to be 89 seconds.
Yep. Makes a difference. Like if your hero's gone on, often you need to use the Savage Roar on your bear, or even the Savage Roar on your bear to save a teammate. So the roar on your hero itself is nowhere near as useful as the one on the bear. Slowly but surely, C9 are breaking through the Alliance infrastructure.
Slowly is apparently the key word here. They're not going to go high ground right now. I think the timing on probably wearing out, but it makes me wonder if they're not going to fight because Aegis is wearing out, if they're actually going to another round of rush.
I mean, it's a full minute still. I feel like that's enough time to force this top lane. When the PA is like a little low on HP, there's no the BKB on Axe is the major item that's not there. Okay, so they'll have the BKB on Axe coming out in the courier, but it does seem a bit surprising, just like you said, how slow they're going, how cautiously they are treating this high ground defense. But again, it's Lone Druid Sniper, two of the best like high ground defenders in the game because of their range. So now with the BKB coming out for Axe, they will go for it. Oh,
back into the keep we go. Jonas and Fawn misses his initiation, will get out because of Ghost Scepter. Another Manta pops. Ace gets rid of that corrosive haze. He focuses on one building. Baby Knight does the other. Ace dropping lower and lower. I think he's committing here. The Aegis is going to be failing soon, so better let it go down now. Hester Joe looks like he got caught by a shrapnel and missed his blink there. Ace on round 2, pops his BKB, finishes off the melee Rax, and jumps back to his teammates. Again, another clean escape from C9. Hester Joe thinking about going back in. I think it was probably called off, though. They got everything they wanted out of that. That's not to...
Wasn't anything pretty about that push, but it got the job done.
This should make my life easier.
Good old, let's pop BKB, right-click the buildings. Let's right-click the buildings while dying with Aegis. Nothing nuanced about it, but Cloud9 get the objectives and put themselves in a position to close out this game with the next Roshan. Wow, that's a very aggressive... I mean, I've seen Loda queue up the Skadi, then he swapped to the BKB, and now he's committed to a Desolator as his item of choice on the Lone Druid.
I just feel like their physical damage is lacking when SF and PA are just hitting on those buildings.
Oh, another miscrush. Jonas is getting kited around by these Hurricane Pikes.
smoke out, but it doesn't. When it comes of it, C9 can just play defensively right now. They've got top lane pushing in with Super Greaves. Mid lane will also eventually push in. Has Joko to the horse that forward. Managed to get the blink on Loda. That's a big one. Culling Blade. Finish him off. No save from Hanskin possible with that shallow gray. Baby Knight, he goes for the other damage dealer, ignoring most of them. Forces Limp back. Now they'll finish off Hanskin. Baby Knight keeps on pushing Limp farther and farther back. Looks like Jonas did manage to get away. But now they're going to have to fight without the lone Druid. He was level 19 still. Esther Joe. And that was a silly death. Maybe Ace can make the better of it or not. He needs to pop his BKB here if he really wants to be able to jump on Limp. Does manage to get bashed. Maybe this is it. Force that forward. A couple more right clicks. They do get him. Jonas gets stunned up. Now the ultimate let go by Baby Knight. Does hit the back lines. Limp is hoping to be able to finish off Ace, but he gets another Phantom Strike away. They turn their attention towards the buildings. Limp just cannot seem to output the damage to really force C9 back fast enough. It's just going to be a range racks left. That's it. Swap back. Limp is probably dead now, and Alliance will call it GG.
Okay, that was a pretty close game one, at least for the start. It felt like Alliance, their laning stage, that was really where they shined, but once we got to the mid game, we just started seeing the reliable initiation coming in from the Axe, and I feel like the supporting cast around the Shadow Fiend and PA offered more than like what Rubik Dazzle did in the mid to late game. Rubik Dazzle, very good as far as shoring up the lanes, giving Alliance a good early game advantage. We saw PA really struggle to find a lane to farm, but we saw the weakness of the support duo come mid to late game because they didn't do anywhere near what like the Venge was doing as far as having the swap initiations, amping up all the damage, that plus 60% damage or whatever it was, Noya with the Bloodlust and Force Staff helping out the team. I feel like the cores functioned very similarly on both teams, but the supports were more effective from Cloud9.
It's
Yeah, and both carries going for Mantis, it meant that if they got jumped by the Slider, they could instantly get rid of that Corrosive Haze, and often it's not being reapplied. The second Jonas goes in with a Blink Crush Corrosive Haze, he had to back off. He was using his Ghost Scepter and his Force Staff to get out of there, so it didn't really feel like the Lone Druid and Sniper even had that Corrosive Haze to boost up their damage in a lot of these fights, and yeah, Alliance were just on the back foot. Like once they were put on the back foot by Cloud9, they didn't really have a good way to come back in other than just try and hope for a good high ground defense.
just going to be a range racks left. That's it. Swap back. Limp is probably dead now, and Alliance.
Yes!
Coin of the realm.
Lovely!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Mine!
Selfish.
Radiant team pick.
The setup, they have near perfect positioning for, the high ground pushes. I feel like, everything flows pretty well. The initiation happens. There's a follow-up, wham, bam, all comes together. Alliance, I feel like it's a lot more disjointed. Someone jumps in, and maybe that's just the nature of a sniper lone druid, in that there is a bit of overlap here. But I feel like there is a nice flow to the way that Alliance plays out these. It really does show when Cloud9 had such a strong mid-game. They are going to get the lone druid into their hands. Ogre Magi, first pickup for Alliance C9, respond with LDCM.
I wonder if this is going to be like a straight up ogre sniper first too. It's probably one of the few situations where that sniper first stage against the lone druid with an ogre makes a lot of sense, but also they didn't have the most success last game, of course, using the sniper, but this time around they've got the ogre in their hands.
Reserve time.
Against the lone druid, besides the sniper pickups. Unless the Alliance is really going to throw us a heavy curveball. Has to be the sniper.
Radiant team ban.
Well, Cloud9 must, I'm sure, expected this and have some idea in mind how to deal with it, whether it's going to be something similar with the PA pick, or, I mean, in the end of the day, like the lone druid sniper function very similarly. They don't have to deal with and address the sniper just yet. I think both teams will be eyeing off some of those off-lane gap closers, heroes like the Axe. The Legion Commander could be potentially a decent pick as well, but the Axe is the big one where you engage him with that potential Vanguard or Blade Mail to back you up, and you're very hard to deal with, as we saw last game.
What about the Crystal Maiden pickup? Because that is also kind of an interesting. Cloud9 could have had a wealth of supports behind the LD. Why CM specific?
Radiant team ban.
It's a comfort pick. I've seen them run it quite a lot for Rise, so I think that's part of it. It does leave things pretty open and enable a lot of the, I mean, there are the cores. It doesn't actually have great synergy with the Lone Druid by any means. Perhaps they were worried about Alliance taking it. The Frostbite, kind of
10
annoying because it's
seconds
very easy to kill the Spirit Bear with it, but at the same time, if they took Lone Druid plus
5
a different
seconds
support, I
remaining.
doubt Alliance are picking CM in second. They still want to pick that Sniper. So I think more than anything, it's going to enable some of the
Reserve
later
time.
Cloud9 picks rather than have any like obvious reason to be picked up with a Lone Druid.
Right. And what kind of picks do you think really benefit off of CM pickup?
I think for the offlane, like Sand King perhaps more so than the Axe, maybe gets a bit more potent with the mana regen. And then looking towards the mid lane, and the Shadow Fiend is still viable here if you want to use it. I mean, like a lot of those just spamming mid laners who can just nuke out the lane, get rune control, start rotating around. I think what Baby Knight has been playing. He's been playing
Alliances
Viper lately,
turn to
which isn't
ban.
like the best hero to utilize the CM aura. Also isn't the best against the Sniper, so not sure what he's going to end up on this game.
And so maybe with all this, the CM mana regen, and knowing that we're very likely to see some
10
sort of
seconds
spammers, that
remaining.
Cloud9 are going to play a kind of a
5
split push game, you know,
seconds
where they've got
remaining.
these kind of heroes that very rapidly push out lanes, and they're just able to buy time
Reserve
for
time.
Lone Druid to reach that later game. Because I do feel like that is part of the we
Radiant
saw in that
team
last game,
pick.
right? Is when the push comes in before you're level 20 for Lone Druid. And the last time, you know, Loda died, last time he died, he was level 19. So close to that minus 40-second respawn absurd amount that he
10
was pretty much at
seconds
the max
remaining.
timer you'll ever see a Lone Druid at, and the push came in and just rolled over.
5 seconds remaining.
Maybe Cloud9 are going to try and shore up that timing
Reserve
pushing
time.
type heroes. And I feel like, you know, Sand King or Clockwork, you know, like those kind of heroes, they're very good at being able to take advantage of the CM aura. And Sand King especially is quite good at being able to go for these fast pushes down the lane. Like burrow strikes and then, you know, kills the range creep and it all blows up. Earth Spirit's going to be the choice for Cloud9 here. A nice harassive 4 position for the mid lane.
I wonder if they're thinking Darkseer with this too. I was looking through, I was like, oh, the Darkseer is one of the few games that may actually make its way through after the second stage, but there's no Slaughter to
10
pair it with.
seconds
Alliance do have the
remaining.
Ogre, who it's like okay with, but the Earth Spirit is one of the probably
5
better
seconds
substitutes to the
remaining.
Slaughter to put an Iron Shell on. And Earth Spirit Darkseer, very good with the CM aura. There's a lot of pressure
Reserve
they can put
time.
on the lanes. Doesn't mean it's a CM like solo supporting the safe lane, but it's Lone Druid theoretically. Ace is normally the player playing that hero, so I think that's a hero that doesn't mind being a bit more independent and not having all that much support.
Shore up their lane. Although I guess they already got the Ogre mid, so maybe another support for them. Vengeful Spirit still out there as a nice repositioning type hero for both offensively against the Lone Druid and also to help out the Sniper. And minus armor is quite nice.
Yeah.
Dazzle got banned, so
Wonder if they're still considering Life Stealer without the Slaughter on their side. Loda had 2 wins with it yesterday. It's alright against the Earth Spirit, and yeah, it will be a Life Stealer,
Radiant
so
team pick.
can get caught by the silence, unable to rage it off, but if you're worried about like a Darkseer or Spirit dual lane, it's one of the perhaps the safe lane heroes that matches up better against the Darkseer than others.
all right, now what about this, gods? Lions pick up for a vehicle because they can't have
10
Slaughter.
seconds
They
remaining.
pick up Clockwork, right? You hook shot in,
Yeah.
you cogs,
5
and
seconds
these Savage Roars, but
remaining.
you don't go anywhere because you can't run anywhere. What about that counter, gods? What do you think?
Reserve
God.
time.
Imagine that hero inside's going insane. They're like, I gotta get back to my fountain. I can't. I'm trapped in here. That's how Dota 2 heroes will run into psychological issues.
Yeah. Seriously, though, he does need some sort of vehicle,
Alliances
right?
turn
Yeah.
to pick.
Alliance always.
It's Sand King Axe probably and Clockwork you meant. Ionis actually plays a lot of clock, more than most players, so could be that.
10 seconds remaining.
I think the Sand King's more reliable, perhaps, as is the Axe. I think
5
the Axe
seconds
should be my
remaining.
preferred option, just because you go in the front lines, you pop your blade mail too when you blink in, and you're not
Reserve
as
time.
much like a Clockwork. You initiate in, and often you just end up dying, and your job's done. Like I think the Axe just has a bit more constant teamfight involvement and presence.
And it's better versus the Weaver as well, which we're seeing as a core pickup for Cloud9. So if he can get that blade mail, it's also nice because Weaver can't just Shukuchi run away. Blade mail, or presumably Call, is still going to catch him with that AoE. Short work of the Weaver, even though picked up against that Lifestealer combo work just as well.
Yeah. The main thing with these offlanes we're talking about, neither team's going to have like a mech buy or anything. We're not going to see any of those like utility offlaners to get those items. Perhaps Axe, you can get like a Crimson Guard or something for the team, but no mech Greaves buys unless you're looking towards like a farming support, which Cloud9 don't really have. Earth Spirit's thinking Blink Dagger, Ogre Magi perhaps. We've been seeing some Ogres get decently farmed, seeing some Solar Crests come into play, but does limit like your itemization come mid-game time as far as putting together those scary 5-man team fights.
Well, Alliance, we talked about the many different offlaners that they could grab here, and Alliance apparently feel like they have enough options that they'll go for the Vengeful Spirit 4th pickup instead of Band or under Savage Roars you or whatever. You just run even faster.
Yeah, helps you out. Yeah, interesting they target that rather than like one of those Axe Sanking. I mean, even the Clockwork I feel are all currently played and picked more. Worried about the laning stage where Batrider can pressure the lane a bit more than others against certain heroes like a Lone Druid. But there's the Darkseer ban, so won't see any Darkseer. Earth Spirit, Alliance, and Cloud9 both theoretically look for their offlaners. Cloud9 could mix it up and like a core Weaver in the offlane, and then pick a different mid, for example, or even safe lane, depending where they want the Lone Druid to go. But does really feel like they want an initiator. The Earth Spirit is like a pseudo initiator, but it's not all that reliable mid to late game time.
Reserve time.
Giants only have a little bit of time to decide.
10 seconds.
The Legion
remaining.
will be the clock. Will it be... What else did we say? Oh, Axe. That's
Axe,
right.
Axe was
Radiant team
I just assumed Axe was going to get banned, but...
Yeah, so did I.
So,
I guess both teams maybe thought they wanted it. Like, I feel like that's the hero Cloud9 wanted, so maybe they thought they could leave it in the pool, but...
10 seconds
I
remaining.
like clock here. Friends the sniper a little bit. You're going to have
5 seconds remaining.
versus... I think most of all, you need your offlaner to be active here.
Reserve time.
Because Lone Druid and Weaver are both kind of slow. You need something
10
that's going to be...
remaining.
Most of the other offlaners
5
have been...
seconds remaining.
Underlord? Do we finally get to see the Underlord? Okay, well, they're doing the mid-Warlock. The Baby Knight Classic.
All right.
This is like old school from them.
Weaver offlane it is. Warlock versus the Lifestealer Sniper. Warlock is such a scary hero for any initiating duo like Axe Lifestealer here. They start going on somebody, all of a sudden a rock drops on them. They're fatal bonded together. They're slowed down as well. At least the Axe will be from the evil. There's going to be a lot of hard problems if Giants do not find that Warlock for.
Yeah, so we'll see how they fare there. There's not really going to be like a clear frontliner for Cloud9, which is, I mean, they don't have a clear frontliner or initiator, so I do feel like this draft of theirs doesn't necessarily scale all too well. Like, they want to have a strong early game, find some nice laning stage pickoffs using the Earth Spirit, the Crystal Maiden, and start early whenever they've got rock, because shortcomings will be exploited by Alliance.
Prepare for battle.
It would be interesting to see. This will definitely be a bit of a different pace from game 1 for C9. They're going to have to play a lot more careful about their timings. They certainly can't have the same kind of failed initiations that we saw in the beginning of game 1 for C9, because there are going to be few and far times between where they can actually initiate and fight into Alliance. Once we start going mid-game, it's going to be all based around that chaotic offering time.
Well, the early TP's mid. Noya sees the smoked up Ogre TP in, because he saw the little TP circle, and yep, he guesses right with the ward. Immediate D ward. Nice heads up play from him, so gets the slight advantage because he TP's in first, and...
Limp really needed that
30 seconds
ward up.
to battle.
Probably going to need the presence of Hanskin in lane a lot more. As that ward is down, the Hester Joe just to have it a little poke, seeing what's up. Alliance are all there, though, around their bounty runes, so we are just going to have a off, it looks like. Unless somehow the Spirit Bear can take the snipers, or... really going to fight into this one. Fatal bonded up. This is going to take a lot of damage. They are going to try and turn onto Noya, see who gets the first blood first. Hanskin's away. Noya doesn't have the same kind of options, but he does have that Orb of Venom slowing all these heroes. They are all fatal bonded up, and they're all going to take so much damage from that.
And yeah, Limp did manage to get his bounty rune. That is a huge chunk of damage there. That was a good, like, 1,500, 2k damage almost, it felt like, across those 3 heroes. Very crippling stuff. They don't really want to go to their shrine. The shrine is too far away. It's also the mid laner's shrine. You don't want to take the sniper's shrine, so they're just going to have to chew through tangos in this top lane. 2 tangos for EGM to get full HP. Probably 2 tangos for Hanskin. Same for the life sealer. That's like 6 tangos worth of damage just dealt right there. That is a very good start for C9 with the fatal bonds.
Because Hanskin's not there, then immediately the Earth Spirit gets to go on Limp without fear of recourse, so they get a lot of damage now into Limp, force him to burn his healing self. As a whole, Alliance is almost completely out of regen already in the first minute of their laning phase. We'll see if C9 can abuse that some more. They have another roll in. Hanskin is here now, though, and this will be a lot more even fight. I feel like the next bit of action is going to be when C9 rotate their Rise as the Crystal Maiden. Maybe they rotate him top and try and avenge, or maybe they bring him mid and keep Limp down.
Yeah, so he's jungled his fast level 2, gets the aura for the team. All that fighting going on, like that, this is where you're getting full value out of the aura. You want to be fighting and using spells if you're C9. Ace has an empty lane down bottom. He won't be using much, but the other 2 lanes are very active and trying to fight as much and often as possible. Now, Baby Knight hasn't skilled up his heal though, but I imagine he'll be using that either for himself or aggressively fairly soon.
It's not quite the same, but Axe's Iron Talon jungling is, for the first 2 minutes, kind of similar to what it used to be. You don't have the quick suicide timing back to base, but you do at least get a pretty fast pair of Tranquil Boots. Hester Joe is going to be your first blood at top lane. Let's catch him with the single counter ward they have.
EGM barely surviving through it, and poor EGM, itemless there, at least gets involved in the first blood to get him up to 400 gold, so can perhaps pick up some boots if he's not worried about the career upgrade. The haste rune, Noya is hunting. Oh, okay, he's not gonna go fishing for the kill onto the Venge, but he may find Loda for some harass instead. With a rage, not sure they can get this kill. They may come close if they can harass a bit more though. They've got Swarm even as well.
Mr. Joe's really putting it to Loda right now, seeing if he could drop him low enough, but it's Loda plays back at right time. Roshan has his boots, Tranquil Boots, now complete, so I'm not sure if level 4 is finally the time that you start laning up against Ace, but the push is coming and
yeah, you don't want to let this Lone Druid get a free tower uncontested by like 4 or 5 minutes in. Problem is, once Lone Druid gets his level 5 entangle, this lane gets very hard to manage. So it looks like Jonas is just going to keep stacking his jungle and continuing to farm.
Kind of playing it like the Enigma would. You know, have your time in jungle, and then you just occasionally defend those pushes, but you never go out in lane against Druid. Don't give him that long lane to be able to there.
And now that he's shrined up, he will come to lane. He's actually higher level than Ace. Ace has been full-on solo safe lane free farm for the most part. I don't think he's really even shared the XP. Yet Axter's jungle has leveled up faster. Just with that nice Iron Talon play, using his shrine as well to maintain his HP. Blade Hester wants the solo kill on EGM. Doesn't look like he'll find it. Sentry Ward being planted. Poor EGM. Had 400 gold for boots, had to upgrade the courier, buy sentries, buy more observer wards, so doesn't even buy the boots.
Yeah, both these supports are actually pretty poor. Having to use all their regen early. Not picking up boots just yet. CM is sitting here inside the jungle waiting for Yonasampan because it's become a pattern now. Yonasampan goes jungle, then he pops out as the push comes in, and this is where Rise will punish Jonas. And this is, as you said, because he was getting so much experience out of the jungle, be a very big kill. Level 6 Axe ends up going down.
Dire's structures are fortified.
158 gold each. It's a pretty decent chunk for this early on in the game, and probably more importantly, the tower as well. So, or equally important. So they'll get that early objective. Ace getting the last hit and all. That's his phase boots. He's level 6 now as well. Laning stage going very well for Cloud9. Roll in top. Rage it off.
Our mid lane, it's 5 minutes and our mid laners are kind of inexperienced. That's just because they've been dual laning so much against each other. Baby Knight's just about to pick up his level 5 in Limp. His opted to start jungling.
Yeah, both of them level 4 at this stage of the game. Okay, level 5 now on Baby Knight, as you said. But top bottom lane, they've got another kill on Jonas. This Cliff Ward, they know exactly when he comes into the lane, and Rise. This is like the dream CM game. Like when your lanes aren't being contested and you get to jungle bit, you get so much out of those early levels. And the lanes are being heavily won by C9 as a result.
Nice roll in by the Earth Spirit, catches the Ogre. Baby Knight's damage is way too big at this point. Shadow Words, level 3. How much damage is that? 350, like, yeah, it's like 400 damage. That's a ton.
Significant.
That's a ton, especially for a poor little support who's maybe a little under-leveled.
Oh yeah. Ace has already got this bottom tower down to well below half HP. And the Radiant Vision right now is very problematic. Rise is coming in, stealing neutral last hits. This ward at bottom and mid sets them up to take the tier 1 mid tower, helps keep Ace safe while he's just free farming bottom lane. Like, he's pressuring a tier 2 tower because he's got this amazing vision. Rise on this CM has been fantastic. I mean, the entire C9 team, everyone has achieved their goal coming in. Like, the Earth Spirit's pressured all the lanes. Fours have all won their lanes, and Weaver's been disrupted up top. Every single lane has gone according to plan.
He's going to be caught behind the tower, but a nice ultimate gets dropped by Baby Knight, hitting on 3. That'll be limped down first. Loda is about half HP as well. With the golem on top of him, he's going to have to invest. Pops out, can't make it out alive. Has to Joe finish him off with Shikuchi, and will collect Hanskin's soul as well. Jonas some fun. Yeah, it looks like he went for Ace, but in the back line couldn't finish him off, and now he will inevitably be kited to his doom. Tier 1 tower going to get dropped as well. This is apparently how you run a lone Druid lineup. Goddamn, 7 minutes in.
Yep.
2 tier 1 towers down, and a tier 2 almost down as well at 300.
That's crazy. We saw this last time too at C9, because we were talking like, oh yeah, lone Druid will farm a bit more, take longer to come online, and then Ace is like, no, I'm just going with my team. 5 man at 6-7 minutes in the game, not worry too much about it. And very early towers taken. Great team fight. They knew Loda might TP in to defend that one, but they had the rock ready, and also they had the lone Druid there, so they had 2 disables to go through his raids. They entangled him up. CM even got away, and if not for Loda using the Infest to just nuke down the CM, that would have been 0 kills for Alliance, but by using the Infest, he also sentenced himself to death, so very good objective taking from Cloud9 in mid lane. They'll probably play a little bit more defensively now while the rock's on cooldown. They've split up across multiple lanes, although I say that they've also got 4 heroes up top. It's just Ace really off by himself at bottom lane, trying to finish this tier 2 tower, knowing how low it is.
Yeah, Hester Joe actually popped his Shikuchi and ran backwards just to hide from the incoming creep wave, trying to disguise their push. That being said, there is at least one ward that will spot some rotations, and it looks like Yunusapon does see Noya, does manage to get the call with Loda and Hanskin nearby. They should be able to burst him down. The Weaver may be able to get some vengeance, though. He does have a good swarm on out. Rise is going to also be a target. Yunusapon with the extra Culling Blade movement speed, very necessary. Looks like he may get himself out. Shikuchi's damage is going to be a little bit more. Loda's trying to help him out by eat that bug. There goes the armor, but it's still going to be enough. Baby Knight helps collect it through the Fatal Bond. So Alliance actually get 1 for 1, but they lose their offlaner for that support. As Joe running around still has his time lapse up, and his Shikuchi should be well far enough.
Easy escape for him, no follow-up dust or sentries, and they're going to get top tier on tower. I like that Ace, very selfless from Ace. He had the bottom lane free to himself, could have taken the tier 2 tower. He just left the creep wave there, hitting it to TP top for that fight. He knows that his team aren't quite as strong without that Warlock Rock, so he needs to be there. And the end result is very favorable for C9. They have a close to even trade in terms of kills, slightly favored for them, but more importantly, they turn the kill into an objective. The tier 1 tower now gone. Every single tier 1 tower has been claimed, and C9 have fully taken over this Alliance side of the map.
And C9, when they were responding to this kind of pressure, right, they waited out until they had the Blink Dagger.
Dire's top tower.
They waited out until they had the Blink Dagger on the Axe to be able to finally turn and protect their mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah.
Here, Yonasamfon's timings have been delayed enough, in a large part because of Rise's influence as the Crystal Maiden, that he still does not have a Blink Dagger while a tier 2 is being challenged at top lane.
That is. It's also just how early this pressure comes in. Like, you don't expect Axe to have a 9-minute Blink Dagger. Axe's Blink timing actually looks like not too shabby, all things considered. Like, okay, he was Iron Talon jungling and like not being contested too much, but once you start losing tower, you lose some farm. You expect Axe to have like a 12-minute Blink at a that's a reasonable timing, and he's going to have a 12-minute Blink, but C9 have taken 4, basically 5 out of towers with how low the bottom one is in sub 10 minutes. That's an insane pace that they're playing at right now.
What have we here?
It does mean Alliance, when they get that Blink Dagger, if they can actually get some good team fights, a huge amount of gold will just flow into their coffers, because they've 7,500 gold lead right now for seeing one team fight could probably cut that in half if they get the right kind of initiation. Ace is not going to be caught out just yet.
He's got no TP out. He needs to either tuck himself in the trees or find some way to retreat through the lane undetected, which it looks like through his positioning he will be okay. Either needs support or needs to just wait that 20 seconds to TP out, and support is on its way.
The scan's really not going to tell them much, except for the fact that Ace is still here.
Importantly, Warlock doesn't have a TP though, so without the Warlock coming in, it could be a tough fight. But yeah, again, like I say, the scan is probably like one of those, well, someone's there, but the fact they haven't TP'd out makes you nervous, and it looks like Alliance aren't going to go for any diving. I don't think Alliance is in any kind of position to go for dives. Loda isn't there. Loda's level 8, he's under-leveled and under-farmed, doesn't have his armlet. I mean, everyone on the Alliance side is somewhat under-farmed, outside of perhaps Jonas, you'd argue. And the result is that they do not want to... They want to go for pickoffs and smokes, but they don't want to have to dive towers where C9 are already set up to retaliate.
This is not the same Loda Midas lifesteal that we saw in the games versus Amas. They are going to go for that Infest gank now with the Blink Dagger up on Yonasamfon. It is so crucial that this initiation goes well for them.
They got to catch Baby Knight, I feel.
Yeah. They've got to stop this chaotic offering from being dropped. But I'll run into other heroes first.
Ace is in melee form, just giving himself extra survivability. Rise very well positioned in the trees. Baby Knight, though, is a bit vulnerable here. Does have the point booster for some survivability.
Oh yeah, managed to get a silence off on EGM. He's the first one to pop it, goes straight to his shrine. They do manage to catch Baby Knight. Can they actually kill him before? Culling Blade gets dropped, and there is going to be no chaotic offering in this engagement. Alliance now still have the opportunity to push out here. Hanskin threatening Ace as best he can. They do have some damage dealers, so they can at least finish off that Spirit Bear and catch Hesta Joe. Nice play by Yonasamfon. They'll manage to get the stun onto him with the Assassinate, but they lack counter vision after the Assassinate has faded. But, yeah, they did get Baby Knight. Not the huge win we were really hoping for Alliance, but that was about a 1,200 gold.
Is under attack.
Yeah, it's as good as it's going to get. Before you, I mean, it's like a... You take that if you're Alliance. Like, you need to get something. You need to make sure you win that fight. Problem is C9 already back, pressing the lanes. Lone Druid's coming down mid, and that is not where you want to be, GM.
C9. Literally charging at the lane. They die. They're like, all right, we just wait for Baby Knight to come back, and whoa, straight down mid, straight to the tier 2. I mean, that fast kind of play clearly catches Alliance off guard, gets them. They're also out of position. And this
That's it. More than anything, it's Alliance. They're not set up to go for that smoke play again. Like, ideally, like they don't have long cooldowns they're playing around, but it's the positioning. Like, they see Loda at bottom. They know that he is currently not infested in an axe. The one thing they're scared of is when Loda and Jonas are missing from the map, potentially smoked up and blinking on the Warlock, as we just saw in that bottom fight. That's the one thing that can win Alliance a fight. It's like the only win condition for a team fight they have. And as long as you see like one of those heroes on the map, you know you can safely push. You get the last side of tower. Now you start taking shrines. Now you see yourself up to take Roshan. And if you look at that being the way you lose a fight in your Cloud9, you could theoretically even give Baby Knight the Aegis just to protect him from that jump.
Swarm will push Alliance.
Lays waste.
C9 probably going to start setting up for a push in bottom and protect that other shrine. But Stefan with the haster and is going to run into Noya. Maybe they could quickly burst him down. Magic Missile is just not enough. Assassinate's coming out. That'll bring Noya a little bit lower. Stefan may be able to jump back in and get that Culling Blade, but Hester Joe is charging in deep, and he's trying to cancel that Blink Dagger. Loda actually receives the Savage Roar, stopping his TP, so now he's the next one in trouble. And I don't think Alliance have the turnaround potential. He turns, fights, tries to go kill the Spirit Bear, but Stefan and Limp are going to need him to die.
Problematic. C9 probably too early in the game to really turn that into objectives with the low respawn times, while the Shrine perhaps a pseudo objective. Jonas is still positioned at the bottom. He's going for this. That's a lot of creeps. Savage Roar on cooldown.
Chaotic Offering is also got to be dropped there to help save him, and they do get the Entangle to stop the TP. Jonas upon high risk play, had some high reward opportunities to it, but
yeah, I don't mind him going for that play. You're in a pretty desperate position as it was, and I think without that rock, it would have been very close to a kill because the Savage Roar was on cooldown on the Spirit Bear. So without that available, it was a bit of a dicey situation for Ace, but heads up play by Baby Knight, just dropping the rock. Your lone Druid going down is a pretty big deal at this stage, since it will just slow down the tempo you're playing at, will delay the Roche, delay a couple of item timings, delay potentially even looking to break the high ground, so now you've just got to sit back, wait for that rock to come up. You can theoretically, even take Roche without the rock because of Alliance being so much on the back foot, and you've got the Swarm as well as Spirit Bear to take it with.
No, not even the Warlock Golem is going to be a pickup for Alliance. It actually just dies naturally at 100 HP.
Gives all the vision Cloud9 need to know they're not being contested with Roche. They even scan the Shrine to make sure there's no Shrine there, but they scan anyways to make sure nothing's going on. And Alliance is like, oh, I wonder if they're Roche. Let's scan on top of it. But until they leave the pit, scan tells them nothing.
13-4, C9 already one game up in this series, and they're 10,000 gold ahead in game 2. Experience dead even though.
Here is the Hail Mary from Alliance. They smoke up into the Aegis. They know there's no rock, and I think having no rock is more important than there being an Aegis on the other team, so it's the right time to go for this kind of a play. Can find a core pickoff. Even a Weaver saying would be nice. Weaver's going straight into the Ag Scepter as a core hero, and I think with good reason.
Ace does manage to get off the melee form. That's going to make him so much tankier. The kick actually misses out. They are still pursuing this one. At the same time, Alliance went on top lane. God has to Joe. Noya's going to be turned around here. Ace is going to be losing his Aegis here. Hanskin has his way. The heal is barely doing enough. Now the Savage Roar plus Frostbite. Somebody finish him off. A Wave of Terror to do the trick. Now he's going to come back in range for him. They don't have a whole lot of stuns. EGM's out of mana, but maybe Limp can still do it. It gets enough right clicks in. Needs a little bit more for the Assassinate to finish him off, and Ace not going to go down. He manages to get away.
Some bold play pays off for Alliance. The smoke gank was actually up top. They caught the Weaver farming the lane up top with the Axe Lifestealer duo, and then that fight around mid lane. There was no Weaver, there was Warlock Rock still on cooldown, so very well played by Alliance, just striking when Cloud9 are slightly weaker, despite there being an Aegis. That also stops there being an Aegis when the rock is back up, so you're less afraid of having to defend your high ground now.
Yeah, you know, I was watching top. I was like, all right, the smoke ganks heading up towards that Weaver, and all of a sudden I see Vengeful Spirits over here on the map. I'm like, what? He swapped, and I can't believe Alliance made that kind of play, fighting as 3 into that Aegis, but it worked out. Yonosafan's going to be chased down here. He's got the Swarm on him. He doesn't have any way to pick out. Looks like it could be his death. Ogre and Venge, they're just a little bit too far away.
Time-lapse even just to get rid of some of that spin damage to make sure they can keep potentially applying pressure here. Ace goes, this Mjolnir complete. No, goes for the Hurricane Pike first, so wants to be able to positioning item. And C9 with Aghanim's Warlock likely going to be eyeing off a team fight of some sort. The easiest to force that fight on a high ground push now without an Aegis. The lone Druid can try and sit back with his range advantages to hit the buildings. But I think for Cloud9 they'll actually slow this down a little bit and only take fights outside of the Alliance base At least until they get like another core item or two.
Funny, we talked about the Lone Druid and Weaver and how they would need time. Cloud9 just don't play that way in the beginning. They use the Lone Druid to take all these outer towers, and now if they want, they just sit back and farm for days.
Yeah, they got double Midas on supports. Like both CM and Earth Spirit will scale pretty nicely, and more importantly, get all their key levels. So by the time they go for that high ground ending push, these heroes will at least have like all their basic spells maxed out. CM can benefit a lot from having like the max out Nova as well as the Frostbite, and get a couple luxury items on these supports. Warlock eyeing off a Refresher now as well, so there's really no rush for Cloud9 because of the strategic advantage they're in, and I mean the double minuses, the farm advantage is going to get bigger and bigger as well.
Up to a Scythe. I'm definitely feeling Refresher's a little bit better.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah, whatever.
But I don't think whatever item he gets at this point doesn't matter, you know? I feel like he could, I don't know, get a Desolator and be fine. But they're in a very dominant position. But yeah, the Refresher to me seemed like the, reliable way to end the game.
Maybe he'll have a quick reaction, stop getting some funds. Link initiation. He is trying to work on a Blade Veil right now. They're backing up Limp as he tries to go for his push at bottom lane, but a Radiant scan. C9 to have an idea of what Alliance we're up to. Scan it. Get out Limp. Team fight. E9. They gonna blanch them anyway?
This with the Rock. Yeah, I think they will with the Rock there. If Hestejo gets gone on, you can easily turn it around. Bring an Infest. Lifestealer and the Axe engaging into a Rock would be a disaster, but Alliance also figure out what's going on with their scan, so they will safely scurry away.
Alliance make the read as well. They back up. Farming time both sides, but it's always be a bit more efficient for C9 with Ace on the other side of the map. Towards his.
Yeah, C9 are farming more of the map, they're farming with Midases, but Graph has somewhat plateaued out, at least over the last 5 or 6 minutes, with Alliance able to put together a little bit, get a couple towers here or there. Still feels like their way back into this game is very limited. The Lifestealer is not really scaling very well, and he's never going to match up well against the Chaotic Offering or the Lone Druid, so it's going to be and even the Weaver, it's going to be very tough. And that initiation of alliances with the infested Lifestealer will get taken away with an Axe Weaver.
Oda, get here fast! We need your damage!
Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, he walks back in.
Alright, Yoda Saban, don't try and chase. He's going to get hit by a boulder. Eyes out the broadsword first.
Yeah, when this Weaver gets an Axe, which is coming sooner and sooner, that Blink Call with Infest Bomb is suddenly gonna not work so well. Unless it's on the Weaver himself, but often they want to go on the Warlock. Like that fight at bottom where they kill Warlock, that just doesn't happen anymore with the Axe Weaver.
Yeah, that really is the triple threat, right? Ace is squishy and deals all this damage, but you can't jump him because there's the Axe Weaver. Go on the Axe Weaver. There's the Warlock Chaotic Offering that's going to be dropped on you instead. Hey, this is a great last pick. Switches things up quite a bit for C9 and for that whole bomb situation. Now we're going to get an action here. Good start for Alliance, managing to bring down that Spirit Bear. Still can't deal with Ace, the true sniper of the group.
Yeah, the Bear melted. They traded Bear for some decent damage on a tier 3 tower, but boy is that Bear squishy with the minus armor from the Howl and the sniper hitting it. Painful thing is with him, even with the Mjolnir on it, like the range of the sniper is such that he's not even getting hit by it looked like.
Loda finished up his Desolator. He's close. He's actually... So, big upgrade in damage. They need this kind of burst. They need to just be able to pop someone before Cloud9 can even react.
Yep.
As to Joe before he picked the bag at himself. But as I say that, he backs away from him.
Yeah, so see what Alliance can do with the Desolator, whether they try and get aggressive or if they're going to perhaps worry more about the next Roche. I think testing that would be ideal, but also vision-wise they don't have much spotted around that part of the map. Does feel like Alliance is just happy to kind of split the map a bit, have a couple heroes farming and pushing top, same at bottom, and they're just trying to use what wards they have down in this bottom side of the map to not get caught out.
They gotta find some way to a 9 to split up. Because ultimately, I think if they split up and they farm and everything, that's all good for Alliance, and they do need some recovery time. I think ultimately what they're going to need here is a pick-off to really buy them some.
Yeah, the cores seem to be keeping up like decently well. Like the difference has been maintained, but it hasn't increased. But the supports, the minuses, they're kicking in slowly, and yeah, the split push from Alliance is getting them some. Oh, I mean it's more like a split farm than anything. It's getting them farm, but it's not creating that opening back into this game. So
they went that pick off. They're gonna have to do it so soon. Roshan's up, and
that
probably means C9. As soon as they spot that, they're gonna group up.
And Rise scouts it immediately, so that's a useful position for him to be in. He's got the wards to try and set up around the pit as well. Sure, there's no dire ward on the cliff, and Minoya are ready to set up for this one. If they see a couple heroes at bottom, I imagine we'll see and just go straight into that Roche. Probably won't be too afraid. They've even got the Spirit Bear out scouting. Speaking of which, he's trying to steal bounty runes with it, and he'll get it.
Got it.
Paid for. Okay, that's not worth. 300 gold to the enemy team for a bounty rune. No, thank you.
Oh, they go straight into the pit anyway, it seems, with a double damage on 8. Oh, he doesn't have a Spirit Bear. This is actually kind of risky for C9. They're trying to push out, see if they can catch EGM. They will manage to slow him down, hold him in place. Now, they are going to be comboed up here, sandwiched between Limp on one side and Loda on the other. Noya does manage to roll his way.
Ace wants Roche. He doesn't want to help.
Ace is now brought Roshan down to half health.
He's winning the 1v1 against Roche. Roche just, I don't know what happened. Buff after buff, Roche still seems easier and easier to kill every patch.
Especially right now when running so much minus armor, physical damage.
Yeah. Well, now Alliance's high ground defense will likely be tested. Warlock's Scythe of Ice will be completed. Another Midas, a couple of creeps. And item-wise, what else are they waiting for? The Skadi for Ace is almost there as well. He's just like 1,000 gold short of that, so likely wait for these next couple big items to complete, and then the word will probably be, let's go. Let's end this game. They've got the Ags on Weaver, and they'll potentially find a pickoff now. Jonas, Blink from the Urn.
Urn and... Hi, Jonas and Fawn. And that's Joe even gives Noya that full heal.
Healing back up. And push stuff back out. Crew's at the secret shop, so that's going to be Baby Knight. Don't think he needs to save for buyback at this point. There's not really any point. If you're pushing and you die, you buy back. It's not like you're TPing in or anything, so. Lone Druid, very close to his Skadi.
Oh, the smoke is popped. Alliance, a bug, immediately skedaddle. Everyone to the trees, Get away, ogre, everybody. All right, we're all good.
Doesn't have
except
one.
for Hanske.
He's trapped, not pretty low level, so if he does die, he'll at least hopefully be back alive for Alliance before the high ground push comes in, but doesn't look like he's going to get caught out. Question is now, which lane and how do C9 go for the high ground? Are they going to push in multiple lanes and try and split Alliance up? Do they just try and 5-man brute force down a lane? Spirit Bear is proven to be very squishy, so he may wait till he has he's going to have a resummon fairly soon, 55 seconds, so perhaps that and the Skadi is what they're waiting for.
Got the Skadi on the bear.
Oh, that's...
one way to tank it up, yeah, I guess. All right,
yeah.
Like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, that's...
Oh, they're waiting for level 22. He's so close to it.
Yeah, that actually makes total sense. And theoretically, you're like close to having 3 lives or something, but this creep wave will just about be his level 20.
fancy experience.
Oh, when you hover over, yeah, that's true.
Come on, Valve. You know what they also need to do? Update the draft screen. My God, is that screen boring. I turned it to watch a game the other day in Dota TV, and it started off the draft screen. I instantly turned it off. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I just want all the bugs fixed with it as well, like with the arrow pointing the wrong way and stuff, but I sent a bunch of feedback with like all the different bugs and stuff that need fixing, and they were like, yeah, we're working, it is being worked on. There is a new drafting UI coming soon, apparently.
Oh, the swap, Baby Knight. He's the target. Not quite the combination they really hoped for. He can get off the ultimate now. He turns around, tries to Vicey up EGM. Now the golems will have their way with him, or maybe not. Loda defends EGM's life, kills one of the golems, almost gets one of the other ones. Now Jonas upon managed to almost catch Ace. What was that? He get a 4-stab right through him. EGM, nice silence the back line. Frostbitten up, but Lip is still shooting. Has the assassinate managed to finish off the CM, and now the Aegis falls from the lone Druid. Well, they're gonna go for it though. They don't have a bear, but they do have a numbers advantage. 4 versus 2. Again, Limp.
Golems just melted.
And Baby Nine has some long range with that sight device. He's actually just gonna try and TP away. That was weird. That's one form of initiation, I guess. Good kick forward. Noya trying to help out his buddy. Has to joke, get your ass out of the way. Ace is trying to make his way through, trying to say, hey to Lifestealer. That'll be good.
I feel like this is the point where, I mean, saying in the draft we talked about how neither team's going to have that, like, team fight utility items. This is where it hurts C9. Like, if anything, it feels like Earth Spirit or even CM not having, like, a Vlads, not having a Crimson Guard. They have no, like, plus armor items or, like, a mech even to help them out. Like, those golems just melt. Any hero that gets caught out, like Warlock just looks like paper there with his low armor. I mean, he's not low armor, but he's not high armor. He's only got 8 armor, no bonus armor, so if they have items like Crimson Guard, Vlads, Greaves, those kind of pushes are a whole lot easier, but that's something they just don't really have the heroes or lineup to go for. But I feel like some other teams, like if this was like Puppy or someone playing Earth Spirit, he'd have a Crimson Guard right now with a Solar Crest. And that Solar Crest would be getting put on the Lone Druid or the Spirit Bear. Crimson Guard would be getting popped to help go for those pushes, and I feel like that's something that C9 are just lacking.
Gonna do C9. Wait for the chaotic offering. I won't imagine they're gonna wait for another Roshan, so Alliance better come up with a game. Last defense was okay, but a whole lot better as they start chewing through those buybacks.
We'll reach a point where C9 slowed down as far as how much they do scale. Warlock is going to go for the refresher, so we'll see the double rocks come into play. But I mean, Sniper, amazing at killing those rocks. If he's sitting far enough back, he'll kill them very quickly. We saw how fast Loader can deal with them as well. So if he gets that refresher like at a later stage of the game, it won't necessarily be a big game winner. But C9 looking to close things out, find an easy pick on EGM. There, they can do in response, and they are grouped up around this mid lane.
Radiant's top tower
I wonder
is
if
under attack.
C9 are just gonna I would allow here. Single high ground push.
Yeah.
If Alliance defends another one, and they have to wait out on Sean Aegis. Hey guys, we need that extra life. Alliance, they're actually gonna get really big. Like Limp has the Scotty already complete, and that it is very dangerous item to push into just because the retreat is so much harder.
And it's the fact that both Load and Limp have Bloodlust as well, giving them additional chase and additional damage output. And Skin caught out.
They're
Kick won't land, but they are, but they're not like the big kicks, you know? It's not Loda, it's not Jonas, it's never Limp. Limp is always very far back, and I feel like eventually it's one of those games where it's like, okay, Cloud9, they're not really getting enough, they're really starting to break high ground, but all it's going to take is one key hero pick off, like on Loda or on Limp, and that's like the game one right there, potentially. Even if they have a buyback, if you can get on the high ground as they buy back, you've got the position, and you've taken away that high ground defender's advantage, and suddenly the game can just be won right there. So it does feel like we're just like one big pick away from C9 winning the game, but at the same time, if Alliance continue to play in position well, Limp, may find himself caught out here. There is a kick.
Oh no!
Ooh, guess is wrong.
you're setting it all up, guys. You're like, we're just one pick away, and that pick almost happens.
That was no buyback. That was game over right there. Like, okay, maybe Alliance don't GG out, but they lose. They would have probably lost 2 lanes of racks if that pick happens.
Dead. Going to have Loda picking up perhaps Assault Cuirass before this high ground push ever comes in from Cloud. So it's getting a little risky. I kind of have to wonder if Baby Knight's choice of getting a sight device, which I feel has not been effective yet.
What's this item even do for a Warlock? You're not initiating.
I don't know. It literally killed him because he ran in and sight deviced up a sniper, and then buyback happened, and he didn't inside the face. You know, it's like, if he had Refresher in that one team fight where he drops it on 2 and hits EGM, and he drops another round, like EGM is surely dead. They keep Lifestealer a little bit controlled as well. Bear may die again here. Ace is actually going to be without a Spirit Bear for 2 minutes. Now the initiation comes in. Noya actually not hit by that one. Does manage to get a stun up onto Limp. Limp's caught in the corner. Swap back. EGM does save his buddy. Lotus now going to be sacrificed. There's the use of it. Ace is controlling him. Oh, freezing field. The right-hand side almost brings down 2, but it's not good enough. Not going to last. Yonosapon desperately chasing onto Ace. They need to be able to get these backline heroes. Yonosapon, he will end up going down. Loda fights it out with the golems and finishes him off, but Hesta Joe's here trying to clean up, and Ace is on his way as well. Alliance, they're not healthy enough to be able to fight this one anymore. They need to leave. Loda needs to get out. He needs the armlet toggle through all this, but it's not going to happen. Hesta Joe, he gets stunned up, but does manage to get off the ulti. He will survive. Limp is up to defend against this, but Loda does not have buyback for 70 seconds.
That's some ballsy play from Rise's CM. He just goes blinking in on top of the sniper with the frostbite into freezing field. It was after Limp got swapped out. Limp was in the perfect spot to just clean up, win that fight for Alliance. If not for Rise's play, he throws away his life there, but he gets Sniper down really low, gets Ogre down low as well, and forces the Sniper to use his Hurricane Pike defensively. That really salvages that fight for Cloud9. So very good aggressive play from him, even though he doesn't get the kills and he ends up just dying. Make sure that Cloud9 can come out on top, but again, it's not a big enough fight victory for C9 to get a lane of racks or anything, and still Alliance feel like they can press out and push forward. This is without Lifestealer. They want to make sure Roche isn't happening, and he hasn't respawned yet, so will play out into their favor. Well, unless they want to get Roche, but I don't think they realistically could have killed Roche in a timely enough fashion.
Smoke down though, and C9 won't got an Arcane Rune too, so this means that Spirit Bear is gonna have a lot less cooldown. Oh, Hesta Joe just runs right into Alliance as a 5-man. That's a huge pickoff. That Ags upgrade on the time lapse is so critical for C9.
That's as Roche respawns, but it's very risky for Alliance to go for Roche, even with the pickoff, because they're right by that Radiant Shrine. A potential buyback can come in from Weave. I say that, he just buys out some items. He buys a Diffusal, so not sure that is the play to spend your buyback money while you're dead, but either way, it doesn't look like Alliance are going to go for Roche. As I said, it's very difficult for them to go for that. They don't know the Weaver's buyback status, and their lineup does not kill Roche in a fast enough, timely fashion.
It could also be that the C9 have made the call that if Alliance do go for Roshan, we don't contest, and that could be because of the chaotic offering still being on cooldown.
True. It's just about to come back up. I feel giving them this Roche is...
the Refresher plus Arcane Rune too. If that timing was just a little bit closer, C9 surely would have contested. If they were like, oh, Roshan's going on now, and we have Chaotic Offering with the Chaotic, with the Arcane Rune and a Refresher, like, oh, that's go time, baby.
Yeah, I think you're right that they just didn't. They made the call not to contest it because they didn't know Roche was so long away from, like, that Alliance were taking so long to actually because if they committed 20 seconds earlier, then they wouldn't have even been close to that Chaotic Offering cooldown. But now, this game is suddenly a bit more open, and the win potential for Alliance is definitely there with the Aegis on Limp. They've got the Cheese as well on Loader. They're hunting through this Radiant jungle looking for picks, and gotta be careful if you're Cloud9.
That is Yonosapon just not see Rise. He's been like, they've been kind of tracing each other through this whole entire jungle, and Yonosapon has just not been at the right place at the right time to find this free kill. Maybe they'll spot him now. Alright, Rise. It's okay.
Warlock cannot afford to get caught out in these fights now. Has the refresher and does not have the buyback. This is the worst possible time for him to get initiated on. Does have the time lapse, so there's a lot of pressure on Hestejo to make sure if he does get jumped on that you get that time lapse off.
I like this attempted play by Alliance. Drop the ward and keep running, and then see if they have the opportunity to, as Cloud9 go blind area, but doesn't happen there. One of the things that does seem to be lacking is that Ace is really not hitting that hard, considering how far up he's in net worth. And he will have a very large damage upgrade coming in soon. He's got the Daedalus queued up, just buyback as well.
Yeah, looks like Alliance have very good info as to where Cloud9 are. There's a lot of wards around that top river area, and now they get an Arcane Rune, so 7-second cooldown on the Berserker's Call. May tempt them to try and find a kill or lead a fight. They're gonna ping out Ace here.
Or they need a good one. They're not going to get it fast enough. That means Ace is going to be caught. Loda is going to gobble him up. The Assassinate helps give him the extra bit of damage needed. Now,
1,300 gold.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's
40 seconds with that minus 50 seconds. Hestejo is threatening the split push with a Desolator, so good news is if you don't want to buy him back, you can potentially trade racks if you're C9. And they can delay things using the Chaos Offering, although if you drop the rocks now, you'll just be feeding them away, but it will delay things.
They are going to have the TP back. They're going to see if they can save their melee racks. The Chaotic Offering does go down. They've actually got a melee racks, and they managed to save their own. Range racks goes down as well. Alliance actually lose out on that exchange. A huge pick turns into C9 getting a lane of racks, and all Alliance get is a tier 2. And
yeah, Loda lifesteal invested into Yodas to get the TP out, and it was Baby Knight was just like a fraction of a bit too short with the rock to catch the axe TP, but even so, ends up fantastic for C9. Hestejo's even going to get out of there, having all these items on him. He's been able to transition out of the Axe Scepter into some right-click damage with both Deso and Diffusal Blade. I think Alliance just completely underestimated his split push potential, thinking, oh, this is an Axe Weaver, he's not going to be able to do all too much right-click damage, and suddenly it's Alliance down a lane of racks, something Cloud9 had struggled to do for 40 minutes. They had Aegises, they had every single big items they could hope for, and it's like, man, we can't take a racks. All that needed to happen was for Lone Druid to die, apparently.
Radiant's top tower.
Only when Alliance is winning, they still lose. To have them 5-man push out and take the tier 2 tower, they at least still have a better opportunity than they did for almost this whole entire game. Even if they didn't get that lane of racks, they are still getting some map control. They're taking some of these outer towers. It gives them the opportunity. Another win, another pick could lead to them catching a whole lot more. Now they try and catch Ace. They try and get that pick immediately after the push to top lane with TP's coming in, but they're just shy of being able to get Ace with the call. He gets a Force Staff out.
And it wasn't just Ace, it was Hestejo bottom. I mean, he may get caught out here, but he did a lot of good damage. He's going back into the tower, perhaps. Yeah, oh, doesn't get that right click off. We'll get it and pay for it with his life.
Okay, well, I mean, that's still 80 seconds down. Can Alliance force a buyback? It's hard. They've got the top lane pushed out, but they need to push both bottom and mid. Otherwise, C9's just going to split push them.
And that's their Aegis down. Like that distraction, like that split push mid, and then the Weaver split pushing bottom is essentially trading. Like Weaver's basically traded his life for an Aegis. Limp BKBs. That's a misclick from him. It's only come down, and I see this golden shiny sniper, and it's his 10-second BKB down the drain. Fortunate.
Now, tell me you do it. Tell me you do it, gods. If you're in this point as Alliance, you've got 6,800 gold. Would you do it?
You know, I definitely do it, but I don't. I also don't play to win. Sometimes I play for the entertainment value. You know, even when you're playing ranked, every now and then you get 7k gold a snipe, and you're like, this could lose my team the game. Who cares?
Well, Limp is going to work towards that butterfly, still holding on to the buyback, of course. Alliance are going to try and take some aggressive pressure, put it onto C9. Now they've got bottom and mid controlled. Of course, top lane still pushing out the super creeps on the way.
I mean, C9 need this Weaver to perhaps transition more into a core, because Warlock is not a hero that's going to scale all amazingly well. His rocks just get weaker and weaker as the game goes on. He went back for a Blink, so now it's the Hex. The Blink Hex at least makes the Hex a little bit better. It still feels like a pretty shitty item pickup. The Shiver's Guide is what I would have liked to see, because I feel like that's a good defensive item for when he gets jumped. but it's always going to be useful. It's 15 armor, one of the best armor items in the game, and the active is just generally better than a hex, but he'll go for that, it looks like, as his last item pickup. Any big talents coming up. Magic immunity for chaotic offering golems. That is not particularly useful. 15 chaotic offering golems armor, that is useful.
That is very useful. All that physical damage, you some fun. He's so close. He's got the gem. Feel it. Cards his feeling. Gotta back away. Has to be caught in this spot. I need to reset up the trap a little bit farther back. At jungle is Hester gonna take this bait. He's got the air spirit behind him. He might be feeling okay with it. You know, just one creep wave. That's all. It's just one creep wave. Go farm it. That was patient.
We'll get greedy first.
Yono-Safan, start making your way down. 4-step, 4-step.
I mean, Jonas could start farming the lane and try bait it himself, but yeah, be the best, safest play.
Going for it. Just get greedy. He's so close. 4-step forward. Gets the blink dagger. Pops out. Now the kick, though. It lands on 2, but it's still enough. With a raged up Loda Lifestealer with an Abyssal Blade, they do manage to catch Hestejo, and they're so important because it now means Alliance once again can get some map control, and who knows, maybe they can push high ground, maybe they can catch Ace. A swap. Oh no, Ace is dead. Ace is dead. This is surely going to be buybacks, and maybe Alliance. They've got a win condition finally. They force these buybacks. Yeah. I don't know if they keep going or not, but they force these buybacks, and then for the next 5 minutes, they have the opportunity to win the game.
And it's both split-pushing heroes. The Weaver and the Lone Druid are the heroes that have been split-pushing and causing them problems, so you're not worried about this top lane so much. Jonas is going to go back regardless. He's got boots of travel. They do need to be worried about buybacks without the boots of travel on cooldown for 10 seconds, but it seems Cloud9 with the low Lone Druid respawn, they just don't want to use it. They're like, well, we'll give them 2 full lanes to save our buybacks. They're going to drop rocks here. Loda, he's taking.
Chaotic offering with the Scythe of Ice. Another chaotic offering. It's coming close. The fatal bond damage is bouncing off the tears in the back line. Rice is now going to come forward. He does manage to get the Frostbite up onto Hanskin. That's going to be another potential kill. As he is going to be just chased down. That is going to be the buyback on Hester. Oh, though. They managed to keep the Lone Druid buyback intact, and they kept their melee racks.
Yeah. That is such a small little, a small little thing that could be a big difference between this like bottom lane having to be pushed out or not. Did have to commit the double rocks here, so I feel like trying to push and force a lifesteal buyback here isn't the easiest play to make. They'd much rather Roshan, and well, Cloud9, Rosh is a very short cooldown for them, so potential Weaver Aegis to make up for him not having buyback is there, but looks like first they want to try press forward. One of the nice things, when you're pushing with Lone Druid, it's great because you do die. That minus 50-second respawn means you're not being punished for dying. When you're defend, you get punished because 50 seconds is a lot when your enemy's already at your base.
I'm a little bit worried about Ace here. He's playing this very aggressively. Lip actually comes forward. Yono-Safan intercepts Hestejo. Hestejo doesn't have buyback. He doesn't get off the time lapse. Ace, he's fighting up against Lip, but he doesn't have a BKB. He's getting kited around. The stuns are there, and they've taken down the Lone Druid. 48 seconds down with buyback. Noya almost gets dropped as well. They'll TP out successfully, it looks like, but no buyback. Wow. 70 seconds for the Weaver.
They could even check Rosh if they want. They have time to take Rosh and go for the high ground play if they're fast about it, but it seems like they want to make sure they get some damage done to the enemy high ground. They've still got a cheese, actually. Loda, with that in his backpack, this is looking very deadly. As the Lone Druid dying, like that's the okay death for them because of that respawn time, but the Weaver dying is just not... they want to go for it.
There it is. Baby Knight stops the initiation from Yono-Safan, but they're still chipping away at that tier 4 tower. They know they have a minute to work with. Not just the Weaver, but also the double rocks out from the Warlock. It's not there.
It's a team fight.
He can only upheaval. They've only got the Lone Druid's damage to be able to work with at this point in time. Yono-Safan pops that Blade Mail. Blade Mail's going to fade off in a little bit here. Another Scythe of Ice placed on the Loda. He doesn't have buyback room. Remember that, but Ace, he's also a little bit danger. EGM goes for him, straight up stuns him. Noya gets torn apart by Loda. Tier 4, he's down. Throne is exposed. It's already at 3k HP. Buybacks are rolling out from Cloud9, but Yono-Safan intercepts. They're just going straight for the throne. They've taken game. They will push for a game 3 against Cloud9. What a comeback from Alliance.
Such a classic Alliance game. One of those, you're down, you look like you're out, but you somehow put together something magical to turn the game around. I mean, Cloud9 did play their part in giving away some of those kills, but more than anything, it was Alliance putting themselves in position to find those picks. Like Axe, Jonas so patient in the bottom lane, finding the Weaver for the first time. EGM on the Venge, finding those swap catches as well. Both of EGM and Jonas were so crucial in those in the late game stage to find the pickoffs constantly, and that was absolutely fantastic late game play from Alliance. And well, game 3. Yeah. obviously like the SFs, the snipers, the lone druids, but I don't know. I don't really have this is
10
why I think
seconds
Ember's
remaining.
stopped being picked. It just seems like teams have maybe decided something else works for them better than
5
the Ember, because
seconds
Ember is still a
remaining.
very scary hero in the right hands.
Doesn't really fit into
Reserve time.
Cloud9's lineup now with the S, but it could work for Alliance. Two of the Darks here with Ember Spirit. That would be a powerful combo for Limp to be able to run over C9's lineup about 15 minutes. See if Alliance they're going to ban.
Yeah. Perhaps some of the supports, they banned the Disruptor. I mean, this Crystal Maiden's the hero from last game. Oh, the offlane
Dire
Enigma we
team
saw going back to that first series was very problematic.
Alliances.
Gives C9 that teamfight option, and of course the Lifestealer ban with the Slaughter, an obvious choice. All
Dire team pick.
3 Alliance wins in DAC have come with loaded on Lifestealer, so we're definitely worthy of a ban, with or without Slaughter, I'd say at this point. Okay.
He gets disrupted.
10
We've
seconds
seen
remaining.
how some of these heroes like SF and
Yeah.
Luna can just crumple
5
under the weight
seconds
of their own
remaining.
illusions.
And I think it also is setting up for a Luna / Terrorblade
Reserve time.
as their carry, probably. I mean, it is a nice save hero, but I feel like they've been preferring the Venge. Like, if they weren't going to go for an illusion-oriented hero, to me, this would just be Alliance picking a Venge instead, as that 5 position, or even the Dazzle they've been picking more. So the SD, to me, makes me think they're going, Terrorblade, Luna. They've got maybe just try and take the team fight advantage with a Luna, but even the Terrorblade works pretty well against the SF because of his range advantage, and then you've got Reflection, which is the same thing the aggressive Disruption does. Reflection completely can cripple an SF as well.
So how do you deal with the SD? What kind of lineup do you want? You want to see some Mjolnir heroes? You want to see some aggressive initiators? Don't let Alliance get set up in the first place. What are your thoughts?
Axe is going to be a good option, I think, just so you can get the jump first and take the initiation factor into your own hands. I don't think you have to necessarily worry about clearing the illusions. Just put yourself in a position where, like the game they were in last game, like you get an advantage like that where you're controlling the map. You're not worried about that illusion push too much. So I feel like Cloud9, rather than try and draft to clear illusions out, just draft heroes that are going to suit their own style, and they're going to go for a more. I mean, they often go for very early 5-man push. We saw it last game. 10 minutes in, they'd taken 5 towers. Like, that's an incredibly fast pace that no other teams are even really matching right now. And Chen will do a very similar thing to their draft.
10 seconds remaining.
Takes the tempo away from Alliance's potential
5
push strategy,
seconds
puts it
remaining.
into the hands of Cloud9. It also helps deal with those dual lanes, right? Lord our Darks here. We have
Reserve
the
time.
we still can have a potential, Cloud9 can grab a safe lane carry that can deal with that kind of pressure relatively okay, but then you also have the Chen rotations that come in that can do more than any other traditional support could when he brings in those first 2 creeps.
Yeah, my first thought was like, oh, it could actually hurt their lanes, but then, like you say, like when you do come in, you're getting kills and completely turning that lane around. So we'll have to see what Ace ends up on, but it needs to be something that's not going to just die to that lane. The Weaver's maybe an option. We've seen it a lot against the Slaughter, and even though it doesn't sound great with the Corrosive Haze there, you can always time-lapse it off, and you are hard to get on top of with Sprint, thanks to the Shikuchi.
Said TB, Luna, and haven't decided either one. Maybe they'll leave it open for last pick just to get a bit more information. They could choose their mid against the SF right now. If so, the idea is behind there.
The Ember is still tempting option if you want to go like that Luna approach, like having an Ember with the Veil means you're worried about that 5-man push coming in. If Ember can get a decent time on Veil, you've got a lot of burst damage to go just throw into the Cloud9 draft, but I think then you're also worried
10
about them just hitting this
seconds
like Mechless Pipe timing where all that damage can also be negated if you do farm a bit too slow, and if you lose one fight, you get set back.
Dire team
Well,
pick.
That is not the hero I don't think anyone was really expecting at this point.
Yeah. But then again, we made our predictions before the Chen pickup, right? And this is still a pushing style hero, very similar to the Terrorblade. Heavy
10
amount of
seconds
intense amount of
remaining.
physical damage being output by this Clinks, and will gobble up Chen
5
creeps for
seconds
breakfast
remaining.
and use that extra HP to his own good.
Yeah, this is a nice option to deal with the hero. Cloud9 instantly picked Timbersaw, which could be the safe laner, could be the offlane. I think more likely going to be the safe laner, just based on how their role allocations typically work and the fact they currently have no initiation whatsoever, which makes me lean more towards Hestejo picking up that like last pick, Axe, Sand King, Centaur type hero. A good option against the Clinks with all the reactive armor. Both SF and Timbersaw aren't too scared of Clink skanks once they have items. The first early couple rotations, if you're playing that super aggressive style, rotating Clinks with just like Treads, Blightstone, Soul Ring, where you get creeps level 7, level 8, just roam around the map, can be problematic. But once you have a few like stat items, SF has very high armor, has good HP pull. He's not going to die to Clink skanks very easily, although the Slaughter Corrosive Haze is there to help enable the Clinks.
What ties it all together, Alliance? Because they have this sustain here in the darks here. They've got plenty of pressure in the lanes. Is it a
Quap type hero?
Yeah, I was thinking Quap.
Yeah, it's Quap's just, I guess, more like the flavor pick we're seeing. The Ember is still a possibility.
10 seconds remaining.
You got magic damage against the Timbersaw, so that may be something you're interested in. Tinker, that's also possible. Would have been a good possibility. Bit more magic burst damage, and also stops the 5-man push very well.
Damage. Say you don't want to go for the Ember, the Mirana versus the SF. The only reason I'm kind of suggesting is because they do have a Shadow Demon.
Alliance's turn to pick.
Or nay.
Yeah, I think Mirana can work for them. Limp is very comfortable in the hero. I've seen him play quite a bit. Takes a bit more farm, perhaps. Like I feel like a Queen can perhaps fight a bit earlier on, whereas Mirana, you're maybe going to hit that axe timing after you've already lost like 3 tier 1 towers and maybe a tier 2 tower. Sometimes the axe is just a bit slow, but I think the hero can definitely work this game. It's the right kind of fit for their draft. I don't think they want more physical. I think they want the Mirana, the Quap, but they have a completely different idea. They want to kind of delay it out, but Alchemist.
I was gonna say like both those heroes we're talking about, right? Mobile magic damage dealers. Both of them have a problem with the Spirit Breaker. I was like, oh Jesus, that Spirit Breaker is gonna be a problem no matter what. I thought they were gonna turn to like maybe a Puck, but completely different route. They go for an Alchemist, more minus armor, and a lot more farm time. Cloud9, they do have some pushing power in Chen as well as the SF, especially with the Bloodlusted SF. This is either going to go amazing for Alliance, and they're going to hold off those for a couple of pushes, and then Clinks is going to take up time and do things while Alchemist farm, or they're just going to get run over so quickly.
Yep. I think the big question is how well will Alliance be able to defend without the Alchemist? Because ideally you want to have the defending and delaying and being disruptive to Cloud9 timings while Alchemist just farms. What we saw Nip do the other day with the Alchemist of Quickva, where the whole time the game was like 4v5. Alliance were trying to just push down towers and make stuff happen with their Chaos Knight draft around the top lane, but they were trading evenly while Alchemist free farmed. If your other 4 heroes can be effective around the map while Alch farms the jungle, then you're looking good if you're Alliance. But Cloud9 have a pretty scary lineup as far as being able to push towers early with Chen. And Alliance's wave clear is somewhat lackluster.
My concern is that the Clinks feels like you mentioned the aggressive like level 7, level 8 spends time in your jungle. He threatening, can kill supports release. Like that's the aggressive part that buys space for Alchemist. But I don't feel like the rest of Alliance's crew, besides the Clinks and maybe the Slardar, can really do that. You know, Shadow Demon sets up other heroes. Maybe he sets up a Slardar stun. But the one notable hero is Jonas Fan, Darkseer. That's a slower off lane, very oppressive in lane, but doesn't go out and make things happen when you need it to happen. You need to be able to buy space. That's the one real concerning for the Alliance.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I'm not sure what the answer is going to be. Perhaps it's going to come down to winning the lanes hard. You've got this Darkseer Slaughter. I don't know. The safe lane isn't like necessarily a hugely dominant lane winning. Like Clinks is pretty good at zoning, but like SD Clinks, like that's not like a scary killing combo. So Spirit Breaker with some potential Ogre support or even like an early Chen rotation with some creeps can do some work to the Clinks. And if anything, pressuring Clinks in the lane is one of the best things you can do. This hero is not particularly good against aggressive lanes, and with an early Blightstone he has even less stats to work around, so I feel like shutting down Loader in the early game lane stage could be a good approach to take for Cloud9.
And then on the flip side of things, if they do that, right, then Darkseer Slardar, they try and get more aggressive on Ace's Timbersaw because they're like, guys, our carry's being threatened. We need to threaten their carry. But Spirit Breaker is one of the better heroes to actually help out the safe lane from an off-laner position. If he gets in TP, you know, it's a charge in. He can fight anytime past level 1. As soon as he gets the 1 in charge and 1 in bash, he's a fighting hero.
Absolutely. So, see where Ogre looks to go. It looks like for now he will be headed towards that middle lane. Has the Orb of Venom coming out for himself to harass with. So, wanting to at least zone and do a bit of damage to Limp's early game. But to me, Alchemist is always one of those heroes. Like, is it really worth even trying to smoke gank him or pressure him that much in the lane stage? He's always going to farm. You're better off shutting down the tempo controllers and the heroes that are going to create space for the Alchemist in the mid game and stop you from pushing towers. And that's where I look at the Clinks. So. Noya will throw a couple Ignites mid, it looks like, but I'd like to see him move off of this lane after the first couple creep waves. Once you've secured the SF's souls, that's like, to me, what he needs to do. Get SF souls and then leave the lane.
And that'll probably time up nicely when Ryze is probably picked up his maybe level 2, hopefully level 3. By that point, you have the 2 creeps that you can go gank bottom together. If they actually back off of that mid lane, smoke together, we could see that kind of rotation that actually kills Lotus Clinks, and it really does shut down that safe lane carry that you're talking.
Yep. Early Tornado, Ryze is just happy to farm for now. We look for like a fast Arcane Boots, maybe even have to pick up a Dust early to make that rotation down bottom, something he'll need. And laning stage wise, it does feel like neither team necessarily getting an edge from the lanes. It's going to come down to those first couple Chen rotations to really see how things are going to pan out.
He's feeling the ion shells, and he's also feeling the fact that he can't get close enough to get reactive armor stacks, so then the Slardar's Crush is all the more threatening armor. Eventually, with experience, he's able to aggro to
Alk is feeling the heat mid, only has 2 CS with the 1 deny. But even Baby Knight himself, he wasn't getting all the CS that he should be getting. I feel like he's missed a couple. The tower made it a bit harder for him. The acid spray makes it a bit harder for him, so has led to Noya sticking around a little bit longer and maybe calling for an early shrine usage now that he's out of HP and mana. You can't just suicide anymore, so tell Baby Knight, hey, just throw some razors to farm and then let's shrine up. But as it stands, early pressure on the Alk does mean that fast bottle or Soul Ring will be slowed down.
This is not sure what to do right now. 2.5 minutes in, he's got no creeps to work off of this area. They don't have a smoke either.
He's got the Dust Boots, so this is what I expected and wanted to see. Get Dealy an early double creep and then gank bottom with the Dust. And I think it works a lot better if Noya can come with for this gank as well, but even without, just put pressure on bottom lane, even if you're not finding kills.
Work best if they were actually smoked up as well, since the wards, a down by alliance early on, does scout right rotation. They now reveal they definitely know.
Radiant's bottom tower
push out
is under
invis.
attack.
What they are going to be able to get the charge on the EGM. Well-timed disruption, but he's going to be pretty well surrounded here by all of these creeps. So that'll be our first blood. A bash from Hester Joe secures.
And now they can just take over this bottom lane. They didn't have to use too much for that. They've still got another charge, and Loader can't really stay down there. SD can't easily go back to that lane. Feels like a good lane for C9 to start dominating. I think immediately Alliance like, right, this bottom lane isn't going so well. Loader's actually, I mean, I don't know where he's headed. Perhaps all the way to the top lane. Perhaps he's looking for a pre-level 6 gank using this early strafe. Because he is eyeing off Baby Knight, who doesn't have his shrine that was used by Noya earlier, so it does make him a bit more vulnerable. But Bottle is coming out on the courier, so would be a nice play if Loader could find that courier. That's something I don't think. Yeah, nice. They know where Loader is now.
If he had gotten back to the Roshan, maybe all of this time would have been worth it. He could have invinced up, gone on to mid, but might have to give that up now. And get over to the top lane and try and
Radiant's
1v1
bottom
against
tower is under
Timbersaw.
attack.
Or Syrio on who maybe he'll take bottom lane, or well, I guess he can't really jungle because Limp's occupying that.
Yeah, the bottom tier 1 tower is getting low. This is where the Ogre comes in as well to make sure that there's no big alliance commitment to defend this one. Darkseer is going to be the one who has to rotate to defend the bottom tier 1 tower. So even not getting the tier 1 tower, it's still worth pressure and forcing these moves. And immediately Ace comes back bottom, so it does suggest they really want this tier 1 tower, and they can ideally get a kill as well.
Joe has the charge. Now our Timbersaw is not really going to be able to do much here to help him out. Hanskin's going to loop around the side here. Doesn't crush anything, just make it. C9 can't pursue. This Ion Shell, double Ion Shell is actually keeping them back from pushing this tower. They may get it eventually, but you get stalled up and Loda gets a lot of free farm during that.
Yeah, I think this is rotations that ultimately work well for Alliance. They come out slightly on top. They delay the bottom push just a little bit. They get Loda a free lane to get his level 6 going. So Loda needs to just be level 6 with his Soul Ring and like a Ring of Aquila as early as possible, so he can start actually making some plays around the map. And this bottom lane is still being protected thanks to this double Ion Shell.
They really don't have a way to clear through the Ion Shell creeps. Like, none of these supports have, unless Noya's going to come in and Fire Blast a creep. That's not going to do a whole lot. Esther Joe can't really help either. So it's just repeated Timber Chains from Ace because he doesn't have Chakram yet.
Limp is level 4 though. You can see really the outcome of that mid lane for him. It's not a lot of farm, much XP, but...
Oh, Jonas, I'm fine. You were doing so well,
yeah.
But as soon as you actually give them this kill, and all that time committed by Cloud9 becomes worth it because they get that offlaner.
Radiant's
And they've
bottom
similar to the
tower
Arcane
is
Boots, so
under
they've got the sustain for the lane. Timberzor hits level 6, so he can actually be a bit more independent. And Anskin, careful my friend. Ensnare was on cooldown, luckily for him. It just came back up on the Dark Troll Summoner.
Radiant's bottom
This is where it looks like C9 want to invade through this Radiant jungle, put up some wards, limit the Alchemist's farming locations as much as possible. So for now, they just don't feel confident in going too much further beyond where that bounty room was.
Just this double stack, and that should finish off his level 6. Loda's done something similar here at the top lane. Charge! Where is that going from? Oh, looks like he just trying to get back to base with quicker. Rotation from Baby Knight with the Haste Rune. He's going to find Hanskin here. A TP out will allow Hanskin to survive. And
yeah, I saw that Haste Rune bottom and I was like, this is like the dream rune to get as an SF. I'd love to see Baby Knight get active now. He's been quietly farming away. It's like, will possibly get EGM. With the Haste Rune wearing off, he actually has to back off, it seems, but... yeah, SF with early Haste Rune can be very dangerous. That guaranteed triple raise or anywhere on the map can find kills on most heroes, but well played by Alliance to give up any kills to it.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
honestly, I think Alliance did a very respectable job getting themselves space. Are going to be able to get a charge onto Yoda-Sampan, and that...
just enough mana for Ace to combo him down. That is consecutive deaths on the Darkseer. Means no real mech in sight. Does pick up the raindrops in response to that as a pseudo answer to some of that damage coming out from the Spirit Breaker or the Timber Sword potentially. More so the Spirit Breaker.
Lovely Chen creeps will help tank the tier 1 tower while they've got SF and Siege creep beating it down. Not have the kind of wave clear to be able to deal with this one. The acid spray is just a minor annoyance. They're going to bring Hanskin in as well as Yoda-Sampan, so they can actually fight if Cloud9 try and make another case like that. Wisely, Cloud9.
Yeah, and they had good vision on the high ground, so they recognize enough of the TPs coming in that they may as well back off now. And once they see Alliance back off, they're back in, and Baby Knight gets the last kill on the tower, close to finishing his Dragonlance, and Dragonlance makes it even easier to push. So we're seeing Cloud9 start to take control, push down all these outer towers, and it'll be a similar story to last game, just a little bit slower and later. They don't have that lone Druid with the early level 7 Spirit Bear to push with, but what they do have is going to be the Chen creeps and an SF soon enough who can just take all these objectives on the map.
Sadly, Dota, you are not quite fast enough to be able to catch that courier bottom lane. Hester Joe's going to be stunned up, has the Ion Shell to contend with, but he can just charge out. Oh, Yoda you saw him. He tried to get the animation out for vacuum.
Yeah.
It stopped that charge. Maybe they would have actually put highly Spirit Breaker.
Good attempt. Not can you see that value vacuum point at level 7, but almost nets a kill for them in top lane. Pressure continues. Ace starting to feel fairly confident in himself after a tough laning stage. He's now got the max reactive armor and he sees how low Limp is and wants to try bully him off this farm. Loda's actually being charged up. They know where Loda is and that he's coming in. But he's got support in the form of EGM's Shadow Demon.
Mr. Joe's going to bounce into EGM right as he tries to go for the disruption. He gets it off now, but Loda's already been dusted up. Slowed down by Ace, hit by the full combination. Hester Joe gets off the ultimate. Now EGM's going to be stunned up by Noya. Trying to pursue out there. Clips him with the chakra. That'll be enough to get the kill. Oh, and look at that. Baby Knight's got another haste rune. So jog on over here. Burst down the wave with the Chen creeps. They'll probably take this tier 2.
It's one of those games that could be like the 20-0 stomp, or if Alliance hold and get the Radiance at a good time, it'll be a very close neck-and-neck game. Like, Cloud9 are at serious risk of snowballing. They have the ability to take all these out of towers, to keep finding kills. Hestejo finds Limp at this mid lane, who doesn't have a TP, which is very dangerous for him. Some support from the Shrine.
Activated with the Surge. Limp will get there. He has a regen, he's good, but he is at such a precarious time in his lifeline because Timbersaw, you've got this whirling death, just cuts the Alchemist down. It's so much quick damage just with the strength reduction as well as just the pure damage cutting you down. He has to play so safe, and Alliance have to play around him for the most part. And that sadly means that this Alchemist is going to get farmed, but pretty much no one else is. Maybe Loda will get some farm, but I feel like these supports are going to be the poorest supports you've ever seen, which means no initiation from Hub.
I mean, Shadow Demon still bootsless at 11 minutes in. EGM is in poverty central right now.
He's level 3!
Oh, I didn't notice that bit.
Poor Agam.
Yeah,
Shen heal. Oh.
He hasn't it's not really through fault of his own. The pressure down bottom came very early through the Chen rotation. And once that Chen rotates bottom, what lane do you go to? You can't help mid, it's an Alchemist. Like, there's no kill potential there. Perhaps you join up with your Slater and Darkseer up top, but then you're sharing XP 3 ways. This has just been a very difficult to lane game for Alliance due to the nature of their draft. They went very greedy. The Alk, and what you mentioned about the Timbersaw makes me kind of worried, because even if this Alk manages to quietly free farm away, get a good timing on his Radiance through the jungle farming, he is still going to be countered by Timbersaw at most stages, all stages of this game really, until maybe late game where he picks up a BKB as one of his items. But right now Limp has got to be a bit concerned.
Loda going for a quick push up and top lane. This is the one big advantage. They do have the split push possibilities. The problem is Spirit Breaker is the split push counter. Loda's going to TP out and charge is cancelled by Hester Joe.
Just like they recognize like a common theme in some of Alliance's games and wins. They're always going for this heavy split push style. They'll struggle in the lanes a bit, resort to split pushing, play this scrappy game, and I mean, they identified Spirit Breaker is the hero to fight that, and that's something which is already this game causing problems, because Alliance would love to be able to split push with Clinks to try and just like backdoor some towers. Alchemist, similar thing, but it's being taken away from them.
Is under attack.
I think Cloud9, it seems like their pushing power, they're one of the best teams that I've seen, just straight up pushing and taking these objectives in the first 10 minutes, and that also seems to be something that runs victory to what Alliance want to be able to accomplish. They always have a kind of rough laning phase in general, and rough laning phase just means that Cloud9 run you over when it comes to objectives. They get such a large gold lead that certain kills, like maybe this one, with Loda picturing, he's peeking at Rise, trying to think maybe I can actually kill him, but it's not possible. He just has too much armor. He's got Ring of Assils and Armor Dominator plus Point Boost.
Sad state of the game when at 30 minutes as a Clinks roaming around you can't kill support. That's normally your bread and butter. And the other support, the Spirit Breaker's not support. The other support, being the Ogre, is also very tanky. Spirit Breaker as an offlane is very tanky. Every Cloud9 hero is mostly immune to getting solo killed by a Clinks. He needs a +1, but I guess that's the Slater, so go back to what Alliance can do, and it's going to come down to perhaps Hanskin's Blink Dagger timing to help find pickoffs with Loader, and that Blink is not too far away, but it's also not particularly close.
That's definitely not, and if they lose, they try and fight. I think they actually almost have to give up these tier 2 towers just because they don't have that form of initiation. That sounds terrible, right? Especially in 7.0. Don't give up all your tier 2 towers. They'll take your shrines. But it almost seems like Alliance have no other options.
They're not ready to fight. None of their heroes on, like, no Blink Starter. This is somewhat itemless as well. Like, he's just had such a rough time with his lane and his inability to find kills when he did try and start roaming because of the advantage C9 had, that their whole life is not ready. They haven't even got Demonic Purge, so life is looking pretty difficult. Wall hasn't been leveled up just yet either. He's got 3 points in vacuum now, so I imagine we'll see like a level 10 onto the wall happen, but there we go. Another tier 2 tower, undefended. Loader's bottom, I guess, trying to see if anyone TP's in that he can pick off, but again, who is that going to be? There's not really anyone that he can pick off.
Even if he does to somebody, he's scared. Anytime he shows himself, Spirit Breaker's charging him. Every single time Loader's revealed himself on map for like a tower push or something, he's had to TP within 5 seconds. It's ridiculous. He's watching a creep wave die because he can't show on map. So scared of the space cap.
They want to go for Ace. They saw him with an Observer Ward, but Ace isn't so much running away from them as he is just power farming his way through the jungle. He's out of mana, so I don't imagine him laying around much longer, but Alliance, can they get here in time? They're close, and they will find him. They missed the vacuum,
They missed the vacuum, and they missed the crush.
Disaster! That was like Ace did this little, like, stutter step where he suddenly turned around, not before he even saw Loader, and it completely caught Dark Zero by surprise. He thought he was walking into him, then it turned out he was actually going to retreat.
The sad part is, even if they did get that gank, even if they got him with the disables, they vacuumed him, they crushed him, all that sort of thing, they wouldn't get that kill. Most likely, Ace would just be able to suicide.
Yes.
Because I don't think they burst him fast enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, he'd gradually get the reactive armor up, and then at that point, Searing Arrows do less and less. I think it was very low chance they actually got the true kill on him. Already down bottom, C9 grouped up, pushing things out. There's no real split push threat right now. Top lane, this is a tier 2 tower, which is full HP. Loader's going to try and push it out with the help of the Iron Shell, but this tier 2 tower is dropping faster, and there goes the charge. They're going to look to set up. Potential rotation from Ace, although Loader is well and truly back to safety and TPing himself out.
Alright, there goes tier 2. All gone.
Which
Shrines
means there goes the
now.
shrines, probably.
Taking. Not sure if they want to go straight for this shrine though. Alliance do know Spirit Breaker is not here as well as Timber Saw. Maybe wait until announcements.
Got the Aegis perhaps, so we'll see how they play this one out. Seth, very, very scary. I always find it interesting. He did this last game and it was just like, oh, that's unexpected. He doesn't actually go treads on SF. I feel like that's something. I mean, it's a very small thing. It doesn't really change all too much, but I feel like most players will be picking up treads in the early game just for the cost effectiveness of the item.
Who needs boots? I guess. That's to Joe charging in on Jonas and Fun, but he's got the surge far enough back. They don't want to pursue that one.
One trend down, one to go. Doesn't look like this Aegis is going to be any kind. This is like such a classic Cloud9 game. I feel like every game it's like push like all the T1 towers by about 10 minutes in. Roshan, push all the T2 towers with Aegis. Aegis expires, and then second Rosh is when they start eyeing off the high ground. Like the first Aegis is typically all the outer towers plus shrines down, and that's exactly what's happened this game.
I'm gonna draw him boots. Take these boots. EGM, take them. Take your poor boots, dude. It's 18 minutes in, he's wandering around. Oh god, EGM must be the most miserable support ever.
And he's probably being told, like, we need more sentries or something. Like, he's got 200 gold. Does that go towards boots? I don't think so. Tomb of Knowledge, which probably isn't even for him, you know. He's like gonna have to pull that Tomb of Knowledge to, like, Slaughter or something. I don't know.
Radiant's top tower.
Speaking of Slaughter, is he have Blink? No. Alright, he's gonna farm top. He's getting closer and closer.
Chen loses a couple creeps, not the end of the world. One got eaten, another got killed, but don't imagine this was the stage of the game where C9 eyeing off the Ags plus second Roshan timing of theirs, the ancient creeps for Chen. Perhaps want level 2 ultimate so you can get 2 ancients, which is maybe a little bit further away, but this is kind of like a stage of the game where they're not really making a realistic attempt to push high ground. They'll make a realistic attempt to find some split pickoffs though. That is something that Limp has to be worried about.
If they can keep Limp down, he's still a money bag. Even if Cloud9 are very, very far ahead, it's still 12,000 net worth on the Alchemist to be worthwhile kill, especially with all the experience that he has as well. Not finding anything with the smoke rotation. They're just a bit slow. They are going to be able to get a charge out on Hanskin. Hanskin, his Blink Dagger is in danger. It's in danger. He's got 2,200 HP. He needs 25 gold. Somebody give him a branch to sell.
He only loses 150 gold. Doesn't lose too much money based on the advantage we're seeing.
Yeah, that's true.
But oh, there's another charge. Jonas, he's got no TP.
Has been killed.
Can anyone else get there?
Vacuum. Nice play. Doesn't have the ultimate, so EGM. Oh god, EGM can't run away that quickly. He does have his boots now. Jonas upon Surge. Urge on to Hes to Joe. Slows everything down. Nice plays. We'll cover each other pretty well.
Looks like Loda found the courier.
Great for Ace. Ace got a lot of armor. He's got the plate mail. Value plate mail.
He's unkillable, I'm pretty sure at this point. No magic damage, so to speak of. I have a very early Shiva's Guard for the team. This gets harder and harder for Alliance. Next, Roshan, as mentioned, going to be the key timing from the Yag Scepter. Can be bought now for Rise if he wants to. Yeah, he's going to TP back to base to pick that one up, it looks like.
Alright, well, what's his... They've got the Ancient Thunder Hides on both sides, so I just have to get the early Frenzy. Roll them.
Yeah, not too bad. Not the end of the world. I like this from Noya. Last game, something touched on was the lack of these teamfight pushing items. He goes for the mech this game. Last game it was a 4-staff and like other items like that didn't really offer as much, so this time around, he'll make sure they have all those teamfight items. Well, last game on the Earth Spirit, it was a different kind of scenario, but even when he's playing the Ogre, he doesn't often go this mech build, but this is something that will complete the full 5-man push puzzle Cloud9 and hopefully allow them to break through that high ground a little bit easier.
Loda's searching for any jungle to farm, but most of it's covered. His jungle is covered. He ran into
the Bloodstone on the ground. He walked past, that Bloodstone was on the ground for a little bit too long in my mind.
Selfish.
Alongside Arcane Rune that he already has. But again, what are you going to do with it? There's no kills he could get, even with support.
Did end up finding a Granite Golem, so that's ideal scenario for the Chen. And I mean, Alliance, like, score aside, like, this is still not completely all over. We've seen how good their high ground defense can be. They've got the Alchemist. They are still going to be looking to just use that Darkseer Slaughter duo to vacuum crush people with a wall on top, as well as the Alchemist Acid for the high ground defense and try and take it late, but see how well that works.
There's a blink away ahead of the Shivas. You are right, gods. Alliance, they do have experience being down like 1,000 net worth. High ground defense, they've got the Alchemist, they have the opportunity for a comeback. Just need to finish up those items so they can get the full split push, and maybe with those illusions pushing out constantly and the TPs around, maybe they can finally buy space for Blinks to farm jungle more. He picks up the Dasso, next thing you know, firepower.
Walks into Hestejo, but I'm not going to see anything there. I think this is where you just start backdooring tier 1s, give them with some damage, and then Skeleton walk away. He's seeing bottom lane, I think just waiting for the Skeleton walk to come up. This is really all you can do at this point as a Clinks. It's better than nothing, but unfortunately his teammates are getting caught out right now.
Well, go Loda. You know the Spirit Breaker's just charged.
Okay. Now I guess he's lost his window, but he's waiting perhaps for another charge or not. He's also lost his death pack, but I think with that Spirit Breaker charge, you just hit 5 seconds. Even if you don't get the tower, maybe you get it the second time you do it, and any money for you and your team is valuable at this point. There's the charge in top.
Somehow gonna be pushed back here, bursted down by Ace. Death. We'll give Loda some tower time.
Yeah, he should get this.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Get that one. They're threatening the tier 3s on both sides. They actually managed to dance around Limp, so he stunned himself. The Disruption's just gonna set up Baby Knight for the ultimate with the Timber Saw over the top. It's too much damage. Ace, he's right in the middle of everyone, and none of Alliance can focus him down. He just had too much armor. They turn towards him now with the Corrosive Haze. They're trying to get in front of him, but it just doesn't do any damage. Now Loda has actually stepped a little bit too far. He's going to be charged up. He does have a search with the stuns. Now a Disruption comes out, but Baby Knight does hit one raise off of that one. Shrines are healing Loda up. Okay, and he has the unstable concoction, knows that they really can't tread out too far outside the base. They're just buying themselves a little bit of time here. Cloud9 aren't really hitting on the buildings like they should, and they are losing some Chen creeps, and they are beginning to lose some HP. They can't go for the push.
Buybacks force, though. I think ultimately they weren't going to be able to get the buildings on that push because of the buybacks, and now they'll just have to reset, heal up, and have another go with the Aegis. They've still got more than enough time to try and break through the high ground with it. They can wait for the Requiem to come back up if they want. They can wait for the Hand of God and then make another go at it. So still a big win, just making sure those buybacks go on cooldown. And now you've got Aegis with buybacks down for a good couple of minutes. So Alliance under pressure. They actually smoke up, looking to take a fight, and perhaps recognizing that Cloud9 is somewhat split up, waiting for some of those cooldowns to come back up. If they can catch someone like Ace, that's also a gem, that'd be fantastic, but killing him, ooh, that'll be tough.
Man, Loda can't even split push anymore because the Shadow Blade. As long as Spirit Breaker remains off map, he's going to be terrified at all times.
Yeah.
With vision down, they still won't know if Hestejo's coming. Or Loda's bony body. He's got that Death Soul.
And yeah, they're not even heading... Oh, are they heading top? Like, some of them are considering it, but now they kind of disperse out. EGM's picking up a gem.
Right, they hit the vacuum, stopping Ace's TP. Ace just keeps walking forward. Now, he is dropping pretty low here. He's going to try and get a Timber Chain away the last couple shots. Bloodstone deny. But still, that is Bloodstone charges down to 11. It's something for
and
Alliance
gem
to
loss.
hold on to. Oh, was it gem too?
Yeah, he was the gem carrier. So now Alliance have both gems. EGM bought one of his own, which he's probably thinking, man, I wish I had that 900 gold right now. But, you know what you got to do for your team. He took out some wards already with it. It's not like a necessity, but having a gem helps a lot with your base defense because it denies all that aggressive vision. So you can actually leave your base undetected, which is something where the second you leave your base, you're getting charged up earlier, and that's where Spirit Breaker really likes having aggressive vision on his team.
Gold!
So back to defending the high ground. Aegis still has 2 minutes left on it. There's Eagle Song for Baby Knight in his backpack just for now, and I imagine they'll be eyeing off at least a high ground attempt using the Aegis.
Loda's not really ganking heroes. Creeps away some of the Chen creeps from time to time. He'll be set up now. Found a good place to farm. No one's around. Finally, all of Cloud9 are right in front of him. He'll feel safe to be able to farm these 3 neutral. Start building up a buyback. That's the sad part, right? Is that buyback is kind of necessary for some of these Alliance heroes to hold on to, especially since they're missing 2 of them on the Darkseer and the Alchemist.
Yeah.
Ooh, an interception on the Courier. That'd be a nice pickup.
I think he just wants the tower, but he'll see the Courier and should go for it. Loda. There we go.
Got it. Here comes the charge. TP out, Loda, run.
Are fortified.
Well played.
Cloud9 though are beating on the tower. EGM forced away by just Manta Illusions. Here comes the caution. Limp pops out with the vacuum. They managed to get a decent amount of damage done. Disruption now on a Baby Knight on top of the Darkseer wall. There's going to be a lot of illusions beating on a Baby Knight. He needs to start retreating. You could see he's already around to half health. Rise is forced to use his heal to help him out. They have to deal with this this wall and these disruption illusions first before they continue pushing.
Yeah. I think for Alliance, just trying to buy time for that Aegis to expire. About 30 seconds left on this, where we may just see Baby Knight suicide himself.
Catcher on Baby Knight. He looks to be committing. Unstable concoction on it. Hester Joe with the stun from Hanskin. Does allow load at the time to be able to get the damage done. The vacuum in, but it doesn't actually pull the SF. He just instantly dies. Now, second life. Pops his BKB. Looks to finish off the melee racks. He will have it. Now throws out that ultimate. Just trying to force Alliance far enough back that Cloud9 can retreat without being pursued. Now, Alliance are still going to try, and they may be able to get him, too. Hanskin is smoked up. It's about initiating. Thinks better of it, though. Cloud9 forming a decent high ground defense, knowing that just running away is probably not the best play.
Yeah, I mean, they need to back off together. This is where if like someone TP's out, made the death of 3 of your teammates, so no one's TPing out, just backing off together as a unit and setting themselves up to probably focus around that next Roche fight. They really need to try to get some vision and map control back, but very hard to do so having lost that gem. So just that one single kill really changes so much this game, with the gem being lost and suddenly Cloud9 being slowed down quite significantly. This is definitely where Cloud9 have struggled in the past, where they take all these outer towers. When they actually comes to execute high ground push, they're not sloppy about it, but they just lack that player to take the initiative. The only way they get that melee racks is through Baby Knight just throwing away his Aegis, respawning with BKB, and then just BKB hitting it. Like, I feel like a lot of other teams you watch doing that high ground push are getting it in much cleaner ways, by finding a jump, getting a pick off, or at least not having to just like brute force their way through it with a BKB. So C9 do end up getting the racks, but it doesn't come all too easily for them.
Do have some time to work with, but they do have to be worried. This Alchemist clock is ticking. He got the Manta complete now in 2,700 gold, so he starts working towards that Octarine. The Octarine is really well there. The farm build is complete for the Alchemist, spewing out these illusions non-stop and always has chem. That's when the real scary time hit. On9 still have a little bit to work with. No counter vision, of course, on C9, or at least no gem anyway, unless they got a blind dust. So Loda feels comfortable scouting out all 5 heroes. Does see the full rotation. He's going to start cutting the creep wave, or maybe not. Makes one creep.
Yeah. Against charge, you just can't. It's miserable. He's back mid though. He knows there's no glyph, so this mid tier 1 tower should be a freebie.
Dire's middle tower
One shot.
has fallen.
It could change for Alliance. What do you do with your Clinks, though? What that he has. Once he gets enough to commit to an item, what is it?
I'd say Lincoln's. So personally, that's what I would want to get this game, just against that charge. So you can actually split push. The second your Lincoln's gets popped, you just invis run away. I think that's probably the item that will give him the highest impact on this game. Doesn't necessarily have a big impact in a team fight, but you're not really looking to team fight outside of a high ground defense. And there's no like big team fight, like there's no great amazing item for high ground defense. It looks like he's gonna go Orchid though. Not a huge fan of this item, but I also don't like this build. Not going for a Lotus Orb against the Slaughter is, to me, a bit of a mistake. If he had I mean, one thing, it's extra armor. Another, you just get rid of the Corrosive Haze. Like, that time at top lane, like, having a Lotus Orb instead of an Ag Scepter seems to me like a better approach. The build that he's doing with the Ags gives him a ton of more burst damage, so it's like more like a counter to the Alchemist, but it doesn't help protect himself.
I do feel like they did enough to deal with the Alchemist in their early game. I don't think he really... I agree with you. Lotus Orb would have done a lot for him. Hell, even done back with the concoction. Yep. Either way, right? Well, he can get a Lotus Orb pretty quickly with the way they're able to cap after he gets...
Nah, he's gonna have to just be concerned about getting first down at the start of a fight. Like if he gets Blink Crushed and then Unstable Concocted, even with an Octarine, he's not gonna be able to throw spells if he's disabled to get value from that lifesteal. But as it stands, I imagine there's gonna be like a Cheese or an Aegis coming his way if they want, with the next Roshan soon to spawn, and that's when we'll see Cloud9 probably go towards that top lane. Push on the opposite side from the melee racks they've already taken, and with an Aegis Cheese, that should be a possible claim for themselves.
5 seconds. Though Roshan is up. Pretty early one. Cloud9. Oh, they may still wait, even if they get this Aegis. They still have the Satanic that's pretty close. They have the Octarine that's quite close as well. And then last one is BKB, Hester Joe. Those are all significant upgrades. In particular, Hester Joe's BKB would allow him to just charge in against the Clinks and force dispensing disruptions on that hero, which then sets Baby Knight up.
Baby Knight TP'd out just as the smoke gate came his way. Wow.
Disruption hits just before he bumps the Clinks. EGM not able to make it out in time. That's going to be the gem back in the hands of the Spirit Breaker.
Ogu was just about to buy a new one. It looked like he had it queued up on his quick buy, but they'll get gifted one instead. It's a nice pickup to have. The whole time SF was in the Roche pit, securing themselves edges, and it's go time again for C9. Unless, like you said, there's perhaps a few key items that they're close to finishing between the Satanic and the Octarine core that they're possibly going to look to wait for first. SF, yeah, he's going to get a Satanic from the side shop and push out this bottom lane a bit more.
Cheese in his backpack as well. They don't really need anybody else to have these extra lives. It's Baby Knight. Gonna be charged with pushing high ground. So, gonna put the Satanic, switch out the Dragonlance, then have the cheese available to fill up that Aegis slot when necessary. A real test for Alliance. Near impossible one at that. Disruption goes out. Here comes the stun and a purge onto Baby Knight. They're trying to take this first life away from him without real commitment, but Baby Knight is still strong enough to fight through that and has his Satanic active still ready to go. Now the vacuum into the crush, but a BKB activated first. Baby Knight lets loose that ultimate. Hester Joe got a charge, but Alliance did back away from the ultimate pretty nicely timed. Hester Joe with the Throats of Haze on him. Loda's trying to finish him off, but can't quite do it. Limp goes back in. Baby Knight trying to aid his way through this, but there goes that Aegis. They got the tier 3 tower. And they do have these SF disruption illusions. They're going to be able to beat on Baby Knight with the Crows of Haze. He's going to lose his life pretty quickly. He eats, but he's not fast enough. Limp now comes forward. Ace trying to get away. Does get hit by the unstable concoction. He's so tanky, but they might still be able to bring him down with all this minus armor. He does fall. No deny this time around. A huge swing for Alliance. Did that even cost them buybacks? That wasn't a single buyback used.
It's like deja vu from the last fight. Alchemist doing 9,000 damage, and from the last game as well. That was another Alliance high ground hold, and Cloud9 struggling to break through again. They had Aegis, Cheese, both on the Shadow Fiend, and all they got was a tier 3 tower. That is concerning. You've got the Chen backing him up. Like, it's just not working for Cloud9. They perhaps, I mean, it really is this very caveman-esque approach where it's just like go and bash your head against the enemy base and hope it works out. They perhaps need to be trying to smoke, find a pick-off, use the Spirit Breaker charge, because they get no value out of their Spirit Breaker in a fight like that. They're just giving Alliance like a positional advantage, and Alliance heavily taking advantage of it.
Yeah, they're acting like Alliance is stuck inside their base at all times. That's not actually the truth. Your Ace is already down to half health. Ace made G drop before this whole entire fight happens. He gets the deny up this time around. EGM dies in return, but Cloud9 do not have the advantage in this engagement. They need to back away. Hanskin's going to be able to catch more. Noya's going to be the target. Send back attempted here by Rise with a little bit of extra heal. Noya does get sent back in time, but Rise is going to be caught. Crows of Haze surge on the Limp. He's here to take that Chen down. They did manage to keep the gem on Noya because of that send back save by Rise, but yet another win, and these wins are not insignificant. Even with the deny on the Timber Saw, that was still about 1,200 gold exchange by itself. Combine how much gold Alliance will get during this downtime. Maybe all these creeps, maybe even the tier 2 tower. Alliance, you're talking about a 2, 3, 4,000 gold swing in this minute worth of time.
Cloud9 trying to outdo themselves. They're like, all right, 20k gold lead last game. Let's do it with a 25k gold lead this game. This is... I
mean, that was
like
a 20k gold lead by 40 minutes. This time around, they had a 20k gold lead about at 30.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of their approach to pushing high ground there. Just brute forcing it too much. I think their itemization isn't the best as well. Not having a Lotus Orb. If you could put a Lotus... You your SF goes high ground, you want him to have either a Linken's or a Lotus Orb. I think he should have gone a Linken's instead of Satanic, because then he doesn't get disrupted. That's what you saw Luna's doing when the team started picking SD against the Luna for the push, so you can make the Luna illusions. These Lunas just are on the front lines with a Linken, so you can't straight up disrupt her so easily. And I think if Baby Knight has a Linken's, if someone like Spirit Breaker has a Lotus Orb, or ideally the Timbersaw has a Lotus Orb, you put those items on SF, and that's a free Rax. I think those items, it's a whole lot easier to push, and their approach to pushing their itemization in this game has really made it difficult for themselves.
What do they do next, Gons?
Ah,
They wait for the next Aegis?
Roche number 4, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
The first 3 times don't work.
Try again.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine their change in approach is going to be trying to find those pickoffs before breaking high ground. I mean, they were even at a point where Alk and Darkseid didn't have buyback. They had Aegis. They theoretically could have just won the game right there, and Alliance, definitely one of the best high ground defending teams out there right now, really showcasing that. Alchemist is reaching that 6-slotted point, though. Not too many amazing Aghanim Scepters to go around this game. Shadow Demon probably one of the better ones, but other than that, it's like Darkseid is average, not amazing by any means. Perhaps the SF illusion can be quite potent, but any of the other illusions aren't going to matter all too much.
In my head, that Clinks had an Aghanim Scepter upgrade.
I was honestly going through the different heroes, Slaughter as well. I was like, 7.00. Were there any new Ags upgrades on these heroes? Clinks and Slaughter still do not have Ags, I believe.
But, you know, for some reason, I was also thinking that at level 25, Clinks would eat...
Spin is like his home for a lot of this game. This enemy Ancients, he's often being able to farm there freely, but this time around he walks into a gem of all things.
This is the pickoff that you've been talking about for quite some time. Now it's time to brute force it, right, Gods?
Sort of?
At least brute force the buyback.
Yeah,
right?
the buyback. Yeah. But ideally, if you're Alliance, you're thinking, let's buy back as Darkseid gets a good vacuum into Slaughter, Crush, Wall.
Wrap it around with the smoke. This is so weird. If they play, but they're going to be able to catch EGM. If they stop this disruption, that's big. He does not have buyback. So the buyback comes in, reactionary from Loda. They do have a wall, though, and they do have a crush. That's a man-back wall crush with the unstable concoction over the top, but it's still not enough. Cloud9 has survived through it. Now they get the rebuttal, throw out the ultimate of Baby Knight, and they all start retreating. That was too close of a call for Cloud9. They don't want to fight until they can recompose themselves.
Yeah, that's finally some, I guess, nuance to their push. It's not just this, let's brute force it, it's this, okay, let's wrap around and get the Shadow Demon. That Shadow Demon SF illusions, that last fight, were probably like one of the biggest sources of damage from the Alliance side, so killing him makes a decent difference. Problem is now, you're gonna be back alive, so you need to find a new plan, whether that's Roshan, whether that's getting another pickoff. Loader bought back, so you have that buyback cooldown to play around, and they're probably thinking they can have Aegis and Cheese while Loader's buyback is still down, and then try and make a big play or get a big pickoff.
Back in, see if they can get a quick pick, and they'll have it. Onskin with the Invis ultimate of Hesta Joe. Bumps him into the place. Another buyback being used by Alliance. Stun comes out. Ace making sure that he is always on the front lines. Even when they're retreating, wants to make sure he's the target.
Yeah, they're starting to pick Alliance apart, and every buyback can make a big difference. Again, it's like now there's 2 buybacks on cooldown when you get Aegis and Cheese, so Cloud9 likely just discussing, alright, are there any big items that we need?
Selfish.
We want to push, the second we get this Aegis and Cheese, we want to be ready to go before those buybacks come back up, and maybe now it looks like we'll have an Assault Crest fairly soon. Be somewhat item slot limited. Perhaps swap it in once he's used his BKB in a fight.
He does need that intense armor upgrade to get his own illusion.
Yeah. I guess it's also a temporary AC for your opponent, so is the other way of looking at it as well, though. Any Ag Scepters coming out from the Alk? Doesn't look like he's pulled. Did he pull onto the DAC? No. What did he buy? He had more money earlier, didn't he? Oh, no, I guess not.
You didn't have the buyback, so sure.
Yeah. Oh, he got the AC. Okay, yeah, he had the Shivers, but not the AC. So he's replaced his armlet with the AC. There we go. I was like, I'm sure there was like 6k gold on Limp at some point. He didn't buy a Moonshard. But yeah, that makes more sense.
Illusion pushing out, checking out the Roshan pits. That is Alliance is another one of those windows maybe for a comeback. They're finally strong enough to go out and fight C9. Yes, it's an uphill battle, but before it wasn't even an option. Now they can do that. Maybe they can contest Roshan if they actually get the right vision. Unfortunately, the Illusion did not scout Rosh, and it's going to spawn quite soon.
There is also a Bloodthorn unloaded for the next fight, and this is where again I feel like no Lotus Orb against Bloodthorn. Like, what is happening? 45 minutes in, you got to have some way of countering. I mean, the Baby Knight has his own. He can personally Manta or BKB out, but if he's in a crush or something, that Bloodthorn will amplify a lot of the damage coming out onto him. But he'll have an Aegis, he'll have plenty of survivability. It's probably more so what his team will have.
Drops his boots into the backpack, takes up the Aegis. Cheese will be grabbed by Ace.
And C9 have another smoke. I'd like to see them to go for. I don't know if you want to go for the same play because Alliance may be ready for it, but I think they need to somehow go through that bottom or top lane and try and catch some heroes by surprise. Ace may just die at top.
Ace is caught again. Now he does have the cheese, and the team can make their way over. They're not bursting to Ace nearly fast enough, so he's going to be able to get a lot of damage on Hanskin. He's currently being charged, finished up by Joe. No crush in time. They're going to catch a little bit more here. EGM tries to slow down Noya, but the rest of C9 coming forward here. Baby Knight gets a couple of swipes on EGM, turn around Disruption, wall vacuum. Great combination, but do they have any follow-up? Baby Knight activates the BKB, lets loose the ultimate. Alliance all the way back to the shrines now, activating those and trying to fight underneath them as best as possible. Limp is tanky enough, but Loda has to deal with Ace's damage, turns around, kills Noya. That's the gem on the deck. Limp, he doesn't have his Chemical Rage for another 4 seconds, so he's kind of humming around, not sure what to do as his melee racks ends up falling. Now he pops that Chemical Rage, but it's all up to Loda to dish out the damage. That's why Joe goes straight for the backline. Surge activated, but the stuns are still there. A backing wall together. Joe may drop for the Radiance, but it's Baby Knight who managed to finish off Jonas and Vaughn with the help of Ace. Now it's Limp and Jonas and Vaughn against the 3 of C9, trying to push them out of this space.
Yeah, they're playing without a wall now. Game gets a lot more difficult. Limp's down. We'll have to buy back to try and salvage this one. They've got Shadow Demon as well, so they can try and use that disruption. And
they need the disruption to go down. They managed to get the vacuum in with the crush. Baby Knight does not have a BKB, so he's going to be stunned up with his own illusions fighting into him, but the Satanic is doing a little bit too much. A Corrosive Haze, though, it finally comes in, and that is the extra damage needed. Ace will fall as well. Round 2 for Baby Knight, but he's just getting instantly stun locked down. Rise can't even send him back to base, so Rise is going to fall as well. Somehow, some way, Alliance finds a way to be able to hold this game together for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Alliance is such a roller coaster team. Like, they start that fight off at top lane in such a disastrous way, missing. I mean, Loda, I think, starts the gank a bit too early because Slardar was not in position for the Blink Crush, and it scared off the Timbersaw, so that Slardar then ended up missing the Crush. He didn't get the Corrosive Haze off. With a Bloodthorn there and no way out for the Timbersaw, that should be a free pickoff. If he comes out with the Crush and the Corrosive Haze, Timbersaw dies very fast since he has 0 reactive armor charges at the start of the gank, but they basically throw away their lives because they mess up that gank and put themselves in a terrible position. But through sheer force of will and their amazing high ground defense, again, Alliance hold on for a little bit longer.
Remember that? What was it? It was a qualifier. I think it was the Shanghai qualifiers, or maybe it was the
Mega Creep game.
The Mega, it was Alliance versus I think Nip at the time.
It was
Mega Creeps. You know, if this happens, if Cloud9 lose this game, it will be very similar because it may not be Mega Creeps involved, but they had enough of an advantage.
It's
Cloud9,
now, it's now a bigger advantage. 35k gold. Like, I don't think there's much more you can get in terms of items and advantage at this point. 4 racks as well. No mega creeps.
Oh gods, apparently Ace, he thinks your ideas are dumb. He's never gonna go Lotus Orb.
Yeah, he's not.
Going DAC in. Corrosive Haze is not a problem, apparently. EGM. Hester Joe almost had him, but he managed to walk out of range of that gem. Won't be able to stay ahead of it. Hester Joe actually turns towards Limp instead, but he already got the stun with the Bloodthorn. Ace is getting ripped apart. He managed to get off the deny, but that may not be good enough. He's out of the fight, and Baby Knight's going to have to carry this damage alone. He's already killed EGM, though. He's underneath the wall. Limp is pursuing him. They really want to be able to catch him with the BKB down, but they'll have to suffice with just a Rise kill instead. The Corrosive Haze, they get that kill. Hester Joe did manage to get away, it looks like. Don't have gem on either one of these heroes. Noya, far enough south that I'm not sure if they want to pursue that either.
Are they going to force a lane here? They've got creeps straggling along in mid. But I think Ace can have a few words about my ideas based on how we died that fight.
Where is the Lotus Orb, gods? Where is it?
Geez, I'm getting so tilted right now. If this was my pub game, I'd be raging so hard right now on my mic if this was my teammate in pub game.
I mean, Hester Joe got an Aghanim Scepter over having a Lotus Orb to save his Timbersaw SF.
Yeah.
I mean, I think more than anything, it's on Ace. Like, you just buy that Lotus Orb yourself. You buy that Lotus Orb after you get your Shifts card. Even if you don't, at some point, you're going to be like, alright, someone's going to get something to get rid of the Bloodthorn. Nope. No one is. Yeah, everyone's just like on their own. SF's like, I'm fine. I don't need to get help out. I just BKB or Manta out. But yeah, that is something.
Did we mention the Ags that was passed over to Darkseer now?
No, that's a new pickup.
Yeah,
okay,
that is a juicy pickup too. 140% replica damage. He hits that SF. It's a huge win for them. Moon Shard is going to be the next pickup for Alchemist. He has 6 slotted right now.
More big late game talents look like Timbersaw gets the extra Whirling Death reduction. Alchemist, what's that? Alchemist 25. I feel like he's 30% life still. That's fairly handy. And SF, of course, having the extra attack range. I feel like SDAGs could be very handy this game. Triple Demonic Purges, and some. And if you go on the Timbersaw at the very start, you take away that reactive armor.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The BKBs dwindling here for C9, all down to 5 seconds apiece. Baby Knight starts going for the high ground once again, tries to go for the Manta Dodge on top of the Unstable Concoction. Now has to deal with Wall of Replica on top of him. Covering his tracks, though. They get a 4-staff back, and Ace, with the double chakram, keeps Alliance from pursuing. That is the Wall of Replica down. I think C9 are happy enough with that.
Yeah, will they re-engage now, though? It's still a scary thought for them, I imagine. Careful about how they approach this one. They're trying to just sit back. They are still scouted out by the Corrosive Haze, which is about to wear off an Alliance. Okay, they're not actually going to go out. They just run some illusions through. And to get to the following creep wave, losing most of their radiant vision outside of their base.
Stars slowly coming in. Bottom, here comes another route. Now, the last time they did this, it was a huge win. Ace kind of reveals it with that chakram, but who knows? Maybe Data Vision, maybe they'll still be able to get this one. Loda pops the smoke, does manage to get far enough back that he doesn't get caught by Hester Joe. Lim turns around, but the BKB activated by Baby Knight. He goes straight for the melee racks. He doesn't give a damn about any heroes, but there goes the clip. Now he has to do something, but a disruption. The BKB's gone. Baby Knight in trouble, has to throw out his ultimate out just to be able to deal with those own illusions. Ace barely gets out with the Timber Chain, but Baby Knight right in the middle of everything goes for Jonas Afon, actually gets stunned up, gets a little bit more Satanic heal, a little bit more, but the Satanic is now gone. Limp takes a dagging shot from Ace. They activate the Shrine. They're keeping themselves alive. Hanskin in the back even survives. How the hell are they doing this? Loda turns towards Ace. Baby Knight's finally going to get dropped here. Gets a 4-staff Hurricane Bank over the cliff, but he does go down. They've lost Baby Knight. They can push out, see if they can catch anything. Doesn't look like it. So Cloud9, they don't get that melee racks. They committed so heavily for it, but the glyph was used, and the whole entire fight ensues, and Cloud9 don't actually win.
This is some Dota game. This is just getting crazier and crazier as it goes on. And Another big hold from Alliance. Cloud9 gonna be beating their heads against the wall at this point, thinking, what do we actually have to do? And I feel like the problem is their approach to winning this game is just that. They're beating their head against the Alliance wall.
Oh, there's an Aghanim's ulti. Hits Hanskin pretty hard, but there is still the Bloodthorn Corrosive Haze on Ace, and that's way too dangerous. They have to run away, even with that resounding bump from Hest to Joe.
Nice use of the Ags there, but Alliance, SF down, they are pressing forward, seeing what they can get. They're going to get themselves a Roshan. This is great for them. Their carries actually have item slots. Loda's got a Ring of Aquila. He's got a gem. He's got plenty of room for an Aegis of Cheese. He would love to have one of these.
Loda's still rocking the healing salve and infused raindrop in his backpack.
You know,
those are relics from a former era.
How fitting that it's Loda who carries them.
I mean, I wasn't going to make that joke, but I'm glad you picked up on it.
No. EGM's been pulled an Acceptor, so triple Demonic Purge with Break.
Holy shit, EGM is rich. He's 13,000 net worth. He's above people in net worth.
How times have changed since he had no boots at 18 minutes.
Back when I was trying to draw him boots, EGM, he's now the wealthiest man in the support village. We'll jump here on Hanskin, and it's get a good stun and a disruption. That'll be threatening, but EGM already has some issues. He managed to eat the cheese. Hester Joe still pursuing out on the side. Baby Knight just kept running forward. The Delusions are actually not doing much, though. Hester Joe with the Corrosive Haze has issues. He goes down. Noya right in the middle of all of them as well. But Alliance doesn't care about those supports. They really want Baby Knight. They desperately need this kill. They're going to have to take Rise again instead. Baby Knight does manage to get out. Looks like the other core of Ace turns around, fights Hanskin a little bit. Do have the boots of travel too.
Oh, they seem to know where Noya is, but he's got to force TP out, so see if Loda can find him or not. There we go.
Pew, Bloodthorn. Oh, not enough.
He's going to live. Well, good bait from EGM. He goes charging in, takes a lot of spells, pops the cheese at a good time. Just getting that disruption off on SF, proven to be very important in these fights. And Alliance actually pushing out lanes. Wow, then for once they're not defending high ground. It is now a 15,000 net worth lead. It's very good for Alliance considering where it was 5-10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, the experience graph is almost even. It was never in the favor of Alliance, and we are drifting back towards an Alliance lead.
Close to the Darkseer clinks to 25. Clink's halfway there. Darkseer is still a full level away, but 12% cooldown reduction. Pretty damn nice for Unison fan.
No.
If he can get there.
The gem on EGM. Managed to catch Hester Joe, but he does have the BKB charge out. That is actually a pretty nifty escape. They do not have a way to deal with that, so he scouts them, sees all of Alliance bottom, gets some good information.
Okay. It's 5-second BKB anyway, so it doesn't matter. He has to use it, and Alliance have to get back to base. They're walking through Observer Vision as well, something they haven't been able to scout out even though they've got a gem, and wonder how much C9 just want to wait for that Aegis to expire. It's 2 minutes away. Feels like none of their plans as far as breaking high ground are working. In my mind, you definitely just want to let that Aegis expire. Often we've seen teams just fight into Aegis if they feel stronger, but kind of at that point where it's like a C9 really stronger. They are struggling to close this game out.
You won't have the Death Pact when you come back, and it seems like it's better to let Cloud9 just crash into you at this point.
Yep. Curious to see if Limp looks to progress in terms of like using his backpack for extra big items, like to toggle in and out of like the Manta or Shivers when they're on cooldown in a fight. They do a very short cooldown, so it does perhaps...
Smoke pops, they found Hester Joe, they're going to be able to catch Noya as well. Hester Joe should be able to get out maybe with a charge. Oh no, the BKB wears out. He gets disrupted. Hester Joe going to be lost here as well. He is back in 40 seconds, so he's got that minus 40 read second like Lone Druid.
Yeah, that's pretty nice for a Spirit Breaker to be able to play that aggressive scouting role and do so at lower risk. Load at mid may just take out some of these Chen Ancients. Want to risk it though. Being constantly pulled back. He's queued up another Acceptor, so be a stat sags for either himself or or teammate.
Who do you think has more value at this point?
Be just the Clinks, I guess. Give him some stats, but
Does he actually? That is brilliant. Well played, EGM. He purges off the callback from the Chen. Nice Manta dodge too.
Oh, dude. I was watching
that was
Limp, I was
dope.
like, I don't think that stun's gonna work too well for you, but that's through some practice, you can time that pretty well, but even through practice, that's a very hard one to make. Will he get another Ags? He does. I feel like I'd rather see him go for like a 7-slotted. I don't know what item, like, I guess BKB potentially against the Timbersaw. Missile Blade's another consideration. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you start
Mjolnir?
switching out one of those armor items, like the Shivas for Abyssal?
Abyssal, Mjolnir, both sound like a potential good late game item, even a BKB, because that Timber does so much damage. Oh, Ace has done it! 59 of 1. Hallelujah.
Nice.
Took him 59 minutes, but he's there.
He's got the Dagon 5 too.
I can breathe properly again.
Refresher being built by Jonas and Fun. Here's another question for you gods. Is that worth not having buyback? I think it might be. He gets the opportunity to complete Refresher.
I think so. Play for the win, not to just drag out the game.
Charge onto Limp. Nothing's gonna come of it though. Oh god, this game is tense. Cloud9 trying to go high ground for like the 50th time this game. Silence. Manta dodge does still manage to get off that unstable concoction. Bounces back to Limp. Done there. Ace gonna be feeling a little bit more pokes from Loda. Does have some decent armor. Another Bloodthorn being used, this time on Limp. That cooldown is so low.
Yeah. I feel like Loda really needs to fight around this ladder. He does not have enough items or really dish out all that much damage, so he needs to be attacking heroes that are hazed up, or at least being locked down by like the Alchemist or something.
Down, stable concoction, pursuing Baby Knight. Now it's bounce back there with the Lotus Orb, but again, seems like both these teams are just poking at each other, waiting for the opportunity. There goes that Bloodthorn used onto Baby Knight here. They get a disruption now. This is a good opportunity for Alliance to push forward. They have some good damage, but they miss out on the clutch. Baby Knight gets the BKB off. Now let's lose that ultimate, and Limp is held in place. He's been janked down. The Dagon, it pulls him down, and they do have to buy back on him almost immediately. Cloud9 have forced the buyback, and that's all they want out of this. But Jonas Amfan, he looks for the pursuit. He managed to get the side device. Good send back there. Cloud9 may be dropping some heroes. They're probably going to lose Rise, but it looks like that's the only one. These heroes... Oh, no, that's not the only one. They caught Noya as well. But these are mostly the inconsequential heroes. Spirit Breaker comes back so quickly, and the other two cores are still alive.
Yeah, and Alliance will be very hesitant to push with a Limp's buyback on cooldown. That's the kind of play which will lose them the game. After all their hard work to drag this one out to end their high ground, any kind of big 5-man push into potential buybacks could be your Alchemist dying and the game just ending right there. So they'd much rather take Roshan. Dire Scan will see Hanskin walk into the pit. We're at that minimum Roche respawn time now, so find out soon enough. How long is it going to be? It's a short one, 40 seconds, but Cloud9 will have their entire team up for it. They're worried about Alliance snagging it.
I've been on the edge of my seat for like a half an hour, guys. This is a big difference from game 2 as well. When we were just kind of like sitting back, you know, waiting for these pushes, waiting for Cloud9 to go for it again. But here, Cloud9 they've tried to go high ground, and I feel like I'm not actually exaggerating when I say like 15 times.
Yeah, that seems accurate. They are very persistent and paid off at times, giving them this 2 lanes of Rex advantage, but it doesn't really feel like an advantage at this point in the game. Entire Radiant side able to push out these lanes, and any farm advantage you once had is no longer an advantage, given that everyone is 6-slotted effectively at this point, outside of the select few.
Pushing forward, taking that high ground. They get the sight. Lotus Orb takes that one off, and there's a disruption, but it doesn't matter. It's the SF illusions that are really important. He goes for it. And again, BKB and ultimate. Every single time he gets disrupted. Has to Joe aiming for Limp, but he actually doesn't manage to get it off. He gets taken out by Lotus damage too quickly. C9, they're on this low ground. It's a terrible place to be. Now Ace has been stunned up before he can Timber Chain away, but Limp, he's trying to man fight up against Baby Knight, and he ends up going down the last couple of shots. Another round of disruption, and this time around, Baby Knight decides to ice up. He can't defend himself. He's corrosive haze. The illusions bring him down. Ace is the next target with the help of the Lotus Orb. He's trying to fight up against Hanskin, trying to get away, but the silence is lasting a bit too long. He does finally get a little bit more into Hanskin. It looks like with the buybacks of C9, they will protect Ace's life, and it's Alliance who run back because they have 100 seconds left on the Alchemist.
Buy that refresher. There we go. He got the refresh. He pops it immediately. He was 40 seconds away from the wall, but that's 40 seconds he made. He actually would have had the 40 seconds, but C9 go for Roche. They're going for the Aegis before the defense, so misread by Yoda. He could have actually waited for that wall to come back up, and now we'll have to play without it. 80 seconds. This is going to be tough. They've got to try and focus Baby Knight, but he's got an Aegis now to make up for that lack of buyback.
The Alchemist was so close to getting back to. If the Alchemist was still alive, able to walk away from that engagement, Lions could have another one of those legendary holds, but it begins. They manage to get the backing wall, but it doesn't actually clip the Baby Knight. He's just fighting up against his own disruption illusions. Has to go. Going straight for Loda in the background to actually use his ultimate, but he's already been Hurricane Piked farther back in the back lines. Joe is too deep in, and Baby Knight's having a hard time fighting into this wall. He goes through it, and the illusion rips him apart immediately. That's going to be the Aegis. Another charge in. Joe trying to force Loda back while Baby Knight goes for these illusions, but he does not have buyback. He can't afford to just suicide for Megas at this point in time. Baby Knight dropping a half health. Satanic kills him out the full. Loda all the way back, tries to have to go back to the fountain at this point in time just to be able to survive through all of this. C9 to push the Lions back farther and farther back, and the Clinks ends up dropping. They've taken down the 2 damage dealers. Alliance are left with nothing left. They have
Loda's
to
got
get through
their
these tier
buyback.
4 towers, but no buyback on Loda. They try and go for Ace here with the corrosive haze, but they just lack the physical damage without the Alchemist, without the Clinks. Baby Knight comes forward. He'll take apart the rest of Alliance, and that will be Cloud9 destined or cursed for second place. Whatever way you want to put it, Cloud9 will take second place in their group and move on to the playoffs. Hats off to both teams. Hats off to Alliance, man. I mean, we're gonna talk about more Cloud9. We're gonna cast more games to them, but goddamn, Alliance 2 games in a row fight to the goddamn bitter end like that.